He said, fucking Star Trek? What's next? Twatting Babylon 5? And I said no, because they don't make it anymore.
Babylon 5 is over.
It has been for a while. But anything's possible.
Yes.
As is this, gentle listener. Welcome to another episode of Big Damn Cast.
Yes.
I am 17 crates of iron brew left in the sun.
I am all the fun of the fair.
And we are joined this week by a dirty third party, which is a dirty third, which is appropriate, as you two pointed out to me just before we started to set up. This is episode 69. So to celebrate, we're going to be doing something pretty horrendous.
Sex joke!
Joining us... Yes, Matthew. Yes.
It's a joke about sex.
Yes.
It's the nuance that I like.
Yeah, you have to be really clever to understand the sex jokes in Big Damn Cast.
It's a thinker.
You have to be really clever. It takes a certain type of IQ to get those. We are joined by Charlie. Charlie, welcome.
Hello, Chris.
Charlie.
It's so nice to put a face to a voice. It's so weird, like seeing you and seeing the voice and. No,
you sound nothing like.
You sound
your
nothing
picture.
like your face.
That's nice. I think. Wait, what? Charlie, long-time listener, first-time sitter in
First
the
time
room.
guest, yeah.
I know that's not. Do you know? Yeah, hey, listen. How about that, listener? One day it could be you if your name's Charlie and we know you.
Yeah.
So
don't encourage him, Chris.
No. If any of you ever turn up one week, you will be removed forcefully and probably violently.
If I know your listeners and I don't want to.
Oh god! Well,
But no, this is a pleasure. I've been itching.
I've got
But that's a story for another time.
that's got nothing to do with this.
Episode 69.
Hey!
Okay.
Penises.
Bar is set. Tone laid down.
The tone has been firmly dropped, and I am truly welcomed. Thank you, boys.
You should feel welcomed. You are.
You've joined us on a very special week.
Yes.
Very special week. We have a grand total of, drumroll please.
Fuck all to talk about.
There's nothing this week in pop culture.
I know, there was one thing.
Well,
There's
yes.
a lot in pop
There was one
culture.
thing.
Yeah, but
There's maybe not stuff.
there's not so much in the light-hearted.
There's
let's have
definitely
a
a lot
giggle
of
kind
stuff
of
going on.
That falls within your purview.
Yes,
I would say.
clever choice of words.
Sex.
Um,
Oh, God. We're not off to a very good start, are we, boys? Let's look at some trailers that came out this week.
Yes,
with
that's
our
what I do.
eyes.
Well, we've looked at them with our eyes, now we're going to talk about them with our lips and tongues.
Filthy.
Oh,
No.
Don't
The filth.
don't put in the air. Let's talk about...
You're the contents page.
I'm the
What have we
content
got?
page.
What
I
have we
put the
got?
show notes. I write the show notes, sing the theme tune.
Let's press record.
Dennis Waterman. So first up, we've got New Mutants. The latest X-Men film from Fox. Yeah.
No, I have now seen that trailer twice, and I've managed to forget it as I was watching it both times.
What are you talking about? This is the first X-Men horror movie.
Well, when they said-
It's a shocking new twist on the X-Men mythology.
When it came out that it was going to be a horror movie, I was like, don't know how that's going to work. And now I've seen the trailer, I was like, okay, I can see the appeal of dropping, like, established comic book characters into a different genre. So it's like taking these X-Men characters and dropping them into a horror movie. But just looks kind of generic. Like, it just looks like another horror movie. I'm not sure
How the mutant aspect even
how that comes into it.
Well, if it's
X
because I'm
Factor's
assuming it's
Oh,
Very good, very good.
X-Men joke.
and just
X-Men joke.
because the two of you presumably know the property on some level.
I'm not particularly familiar with New Mutants.
I'm familiar with, like...
I've read a crossover, I think, with Journey to Mystery, and that's about it for me.
Does what we have seen on the screen earlier on, is that indicative at all of what you know of that?
The only thing that feels New Mutants-y is the logo. Because
Sure.
it evokes, it evokes that sort of early New Mutants Bill Sienkiewicz artwork of those the jagged lines,
scribbly yellow.
Yeah. I'll show you some Bill Sienkiewicz New Mutants art, and you'll get what I mean.
If that logo is indicative of it, I think I've seen enough.
Yeah, yeah. But no, if they go with that sort of, because there's an early storyline called the Demon Bear Saga, which is like basically about one of the characters like facing her literal inner demons. I can see
in the form of a bear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see them doing that. But
it seems like they're on a psychiatric ward. Is the way it reads to me. It seems like they're all like collectively suffering from some. If that's the angle they're going with.
Well, that's the thing that baffles me about the premise so much is that, like, if it's set in the X-Men universe, if it's presumably modern day, set around the same time.
Well, that's another thing because you've got the Stranger Kids guy with the really unfortunate hairdo. Oh yeah, poor guy. Stranger Things, which he has. I'm guessing having to keep for this film, which weirdly dates the film in it's kind of weird way.
It could be 80s set. I mean, maybe that's why they're using Pink Floyd, like so that late 70s, early 80s kind of vibe.
Yeah, possibly.
In the trailer, or it could just be, as you pointed out, we watched it like, slow pop song, slow version of pop song.
That's that sort of
that means success.
Style that puts me in mind of that. And I can.
It's striking, and more interesting looking than the logo that they are using.
Yeah, I know, but like that sort of
kind of blocky,
like sketchy edged artwork, sort of.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I thought you were referring to the logo.
No, the logo that using puts me in mind of that style of art.
Oh, I see. Right. I get it. I understand. Yeah.
Which I think is probably deliberate because if you're going to go for an iconic,
it looks like a kind of like Picasso version of like a Nazi uniform.
Yeah,
or something.
Bill Sienkiewicz is a painter.
Like,
he's a comic artist, but he's got a painting style.
Right.
And it is that sort of broad brushstrokes, and I think the logo design is deliberately invoking that feel. Because if you're going to go for an iconic period of New Mutants, you go for the early Chris Claremont, Bill Sienkiewicz stuff, which is where Demon Bear Saga sort of slots in. Again, as with all X-Men adaptations so far, it doesn't seem like it's actually using any of the stuff I like about the X-Men and related properties in this movie. I mean, Deadpool did actually, strangely enough.
Hey, magic has her fringe. That means it's accurate, right?
That means it's, yes.
Right.
Well, because just from having listened to the show and knowing your two's opinions anyway, you have. I don't know if it's a recent thing, but you certainly are sour on the X-Men thing as a whole, whereas I'm generally more positive.
I mean, 1 and 2 are pretty good movies. Some of 1 doesn't hold up so well. Having rewatched it again recently and been like, this has not aged well. 3 is a wreck. First Class is pretty good.
Origins is abysmal.
Origins is just the worst.
Days of Future Past was fun on first viewing, pretty much.
Yeah, that bends and breaks.
You think about it and then
quickly,
you go,
yeah. In terms, sorry, I'm kind of.
No,
I feel like I'm bulldozing through your own show. I'm sorry.
That's why I brought you on, because we've run out of things to say.
In terms of the potential that you're seeing on the screen, because I'm not married to the franchise, I'm not especially fond of the aesthetic or even just the basic premise from what I'm seeing, but just in terms of what's the best outcome you see for this? Like, what from what you have seen, from what you kind of know of the franchise, how do you think it could potentially fit or not fit?
It's the best thing I can hope for out of something like this is you get an atmospheric horror story about young people learning to come into their own, and there being a juxtaposition between the horrific things they're facing and them feeling like they're the monsters against society, and sort of coming to terms with the idea of society viewing them as a monster while being comfortable in themselves through confronting said horror. the fact that it looks like it's going to be mostly set in an abandoned fucking asylum seems like that's
and
not
that really, really old hat effect of the stretchy wall.
Oh, yeah.
The hands coming through the stretchy wall, face prints.
Yeah.
From what little horror elements I'm seeing, it's ringing through as properly derivative
but also,
of
like,
other better things.
This is a movie called New Mutants, and we know New Mutants all have superpowers. We didn't see any of that.
Yeah. Well, so we saw Sunspot.
We saw Sunspot's arm, like, when he's
inside a
in
washing
Sunspot
machine.
mode.
All
What
flaming.
the fuck is Sunspot doing inside? Like, I don't understand this. Also, like,
Remind me, Sunspot, the kind of
He's
flaming
in Days
torch
of
guy
Fu-
from
he's
Days
in
of
Days
Future
of Future
Past,
Past, yeah.
kind of the flaming torch
yeah.
sort of
He's-
power.
Oh
So-
god, it's the continuity's thingy again.
don't
Throw it-
don't
oh,
even
Jesus.
think about the content. Just don't.
Well, that's
Just
the thing
don't
that's
do
getting
it.
me. The whole setup in this is them going, you know, like, do you know what a mutant is? And all, and they're experimented on as weird sort of freaks and stuff. It's like, yeah, but your previous and current continuities have said to us that mutants are known about in the 60s, just a bit less common.
Yeah.
70s, they're relatively well known to the point of there being a public incident in the 80s, like leading into the 80s. Like, Xavier's school is known about. If it's set modern day, we know that there's been, like, UN talks about mutants, and mutants being treated as people, and all this stuff's just like, so where is this set?
See-
Unless they're gonna, like, do you know what the only thing I want from this movie? And it's completely stupid and fan wanky. Because I know I'm not gonna dig this movie. I can just feel it already.
Just from the
I can
feeling
just
in your
feel it.
giblets.
I
Yeah,
have
right,
a bad,
right in them. Right
Yeah.
in my
I had a bad
giblets.
feeling when they announced the concept. I had a less bad feeling about it when I first saw the trailer, and now I've seen it a few times and the time to digest it and think about it. I'm feeling bad about it again.
The only thing I want is something fan wanky. I want at
Go
the
on.
end for them to be liberated by the cast we
Wolverine.
like from the pre-end of... Oh god, yeah.
Gonna
Just
be
bring him in
Wolverine.
somehow.
Just rocks up.
They'll find a way.
And they can't get Hugh Jackman back, so it's going to be like creepy rubber CGI Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, like sorry, Chris.
It's like the Xavier shot from Origins.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
oh,
stood there,
just a
like CGI.
wax figurine of this weird de-aged Patrick Stewart looking infinitely weirder and older than he did when he had the wrinkles to begin with.
Hello.
Oh
my God.
Which itself was an even cheaper version of the already weird effect from.
Oh yeah, the third
Three.
one. Oh
Yeah.
god, yeah.
Yeah.
Just put a hat on him.
He's young now. He's
He
young.
can walk and he has a hat.
Or they could do the Bruce Willis prosthetics on Joseph Gordon-Levitt thing and just give James McAvoy some Patrick Stewart.
I
augmentation.
really like that. I thought that really worked really
It's
well.
subtle and it worked really
yeah.
nicely.
Yeah.
I just want the fan wanky ending of them either being liberated at the end or taken under the wing of, and this is just fan wank. There is no, you can't build up to this without it being like a phoned in smoking gun moment. I want them to be liberated by like freaking James Marsden or whatever, like Cyclops, and
Cyclops.
Famke Janssen-Jean or whatever. So you go, oh, it's set in the new continuity, and oh, they all exist, and they're going to be taken to the X-Mansion. But we know it's not going to happen because they've already announced that this is the first of a series. So it's like, no, it's going to be a New Mutants series.
So
Or for them to be rescued by the Mexico/Canada, it's Canada, but Canadian border, isn't it? Rescued
Oh,
by,
the
the,
kids
by the
sort
kids
of
from the end of Logan, because then you could go, wait, it's set in the, like 50 years into the future? Oh shit, okay.
So
And then you
you're
carry
banking
that.
on
That'd be
basically
that'd
not
be
even the final act, but those final moments
Yeah.
to make that thing worthwhile.
Yeah, because then I go, oh, now I'm interested to see where you
Your
go with these characters.
your interest in the film sort of predicates on the bait for the next one.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
because the only thing that could interest me about this story would, like you say, be about these kids and that, you know, internal struggle of like, what am I? What is my place in this world? What is facing me out there? I would rather see that in an X-Men property told the way it should be freaking told in an X-Men property, with these guys at the Xavier Academy with a focus on the students, not the teachers. I'd love to see that. Like, there wasn't really any... That's what I like about X-Men, because I grew up in that the animated series, the X-Men Evolution generation, so I want that story.
So just to
the
clarify,
teens.
It's the student
you
dynamic,
want the
Film to be...
the House of Horrors X-Men film
Just to be over really
you want
quickly.
you want that to make the film good. You want that to be over and done with as quickly as possible and move to the setting for every other X-Men film.
Not
Depressing,
not
really, when you
necessarily.
think about
Not
it.
necessarily. The House of Horror thing can work,
It could work.
but I think you have to use that. it has to be more psychological in the way that the House of Horrors are experiencing is sort of mirroring their experience as being viewed by society
as being vilified.
Yeah.
As they are.
And it's sort of like confronting that is cathartic and allows them to become more comfortable in themselves.
Right, okay.
But if it's just a bunch of kids isolated and abandoned in an asylum without any sort of interaction from the outside world, which might not be the case because we've seen so little of the film in this trailer.
And like clearly from having a quick chat earlier and having watched them, like it's clearly like relatively rough footage that we're seeing. It's not like in no way is this finished.
Which is of course why there's next to no powers in it.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's almost no indication of their mutantiness at all.
Who's Maisie Williams' character? Is it Wolf?
She's Wolfsbane.
Yeah. Like we were saying, where we like if the trailer had just one shot of her wolfing out or starting to wolf out, people would at least sort of on that, just plain viewing it on Twitter on their phone on the toilet in the morning level of like, oh my god, and there was that bit where Arya, bit where Arya Stark turned into a werewolf.
The wolf girl turns into a wolf girl.
Yeah, then everyone would back away going, oh mate, that looks sick. But instead everyone's sort of like, oh, it looks like it could be spooky.
Why do you think they have released the footage then? If that is
No idea.
I think
because presumably the release date isn't for a while.
I think
it's
it's
all
late next year.
April. It's April.
It's April.
Yeah, it's a
April!
shout out pre-summer movie.
Wow. So hang on. So what's that? 7 months?
It's like
8 months?
It's like that. It's like a couple weeks before Infinity War is May for us, isn't it?
They haven't been shooting that long, have they?
No, but I'll tell you
It's
this.
in one location. It wouldn't take that long.
Yeah, I'll tell you this.
That's much more post, isn't it?
I'll tell you this from old lad. I am not excited or intrigued.
Well,
I feel like for a film that we
feel
aren't...
like it is being kind of diddled out a bit. Like, here it is. There you go.
Well, considering it's a film that...
We've got to get some out on the 2-year anniversary of Deadpool, so people still think our movies are edgy, pretty much.
It's a film that none of us, by the sounds of it, have any real interest in, beyond the fact that it's a property that, kind of falls within your...
I'm fond...
So I feel like we're spending an inordinate amount of time on it.
Absolutely.
Welcome to podcasting.
But I think for
the
me,
wonderful world
the reason
podcasting.
The reason why I always get hung up on these X-Men movies, even though I don't tend to like them, is because it's a property that I have a very deep fondness for. Both out of nostalgia and of actually having...
But the diminishing returns at this point for you, surely...
I always want it to be good.
It's still there. Still in the back of your head. This might be the one.
And it's just like, New Mutants, okay. But then I don't understand what they're doing with it. Like, we look at the power set of the characters that you've got in this.
Yeah, who have you been able to recognize? You can recognize Wolfsbane.
Only because they've been named in the cast.
Oh, not because you can see any distinguishing
features. Well, because they're not wearing any costumes. Or don't use any of the powers.
Magic's the only one I think you can visually recognise in the trailer.
Because she's got the blonde hair, yeah.
Because she has blonde hair.
Which has that weird sort of pointy fringe thing. And
that's very specific to her, isn't it?
Yeah, character design always sort of...
Right. Also, she's supposed to be Colossus' younger sister.
Russian, then?
Yeah, she's Olyana Rasputin. That's her name.
You have power bar.
It's
good protein.
The Russian character's surname is what?
Rasputin.
Of course it is.
The 70s.
Yeah,
the 70s.
Sure.
Yeah.
Shush.
So let's look at the.
That was all the explanation.
No, comics.
The 70s.
Comics are down.
Let's look at the power sets.
I need to stop with them. I'm
and
very
how
voice. I
they
apologise.
So these are the characters and their power sets and how they relate. Let's see how they relate to the story, right? Olyana Rasputin / Magic, played by Anya Taylor-Joy. Magic is a teleporter. Her teleport takes her through the limbo dimension.
Right.
Demonic.
Okay.
And then she later learns how to harness demonic and magic powers
to wield demonic abilities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
I can see how that would fit into a horror movie.
Yes, yeah, demon stuff, sure.
Especially if she was accidentally causing it.
Oh, she messed it up. She messed up a bamf.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
Something came with
That's a lot of the early horror
King or something.
Like, they could pull from early New Mutant stuff for horror stuff in that, because she does like spend time in demon dimensions and becomes like the Queen of Limbo. Like when she's first introduced, she's very young.
It's so much information.
I know.
So quickly.
I'm lost.
When she starts off
Queen of the Limbo dimension. Oh yeah, don't worry about that.
Basically, what happens with Magic is when she's introduced, she's like 8 or 9, and then she disappears for a while because she gets stuck in limbo. And then when she comes back, she's a teenager, the same age as the rest of the New Mutants.
Full of unbaptized infants as well.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah.
That's where they end up.
That's where they all go. They all just chill out.
Yeah,
not anymore.
infanticide,
The Catholic Church took that back.
Did they renege on that?
Well, speaking of Catholics...
Sorry, pop culture podcast!
Yes, Maisie Williams is playing Rain Sinclair / Wolfsbane, who is a very religious young Scottish girl who turns into a wolf, basically.
Oh, she's doing an accent and shit.
Well, we'll see.
Okay.
And of course that she turns into a beast, which is vicious, but she's quite...
Wait, the beast is vicious, or the beast is called vicious?
No, the beast is vicious.
Who's on stage?
She turns into a wolf, so it's a vicious beast.
A vicious beast.
Yeah, she's not a beast called vicious.
Okay, sorry. I thought it might have been like a pseudonym or something, like her drag name.
Quite conservative, young, sheltered life religious girl who turns into this wild beast, and that's scary for her.
Right.
I can see how that would fit into a horror movie. Charlie Heaton, Sam Guthrie / Cannonball.
Okay.
He flies around and wrecks things. He basically has a blasting field, which lets him fly around on a ball of kinetic energy and bust through things.
He came in like a
cannonball.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, cannonball.
He's a human cannonball.
He's a human cannonball.
Without the loading into a cannon.
Yeah.
Yep.
How's that going to fit into a horror movie?
I don't care.
Yep. Blue Hunt.
I can't feign interest in that
Exactly.
one. I'm sorry.
I like Cannonball. It's a bland character. It's a bland power.
It's not, yeah.
Danielle Moonstar / Mirage being played by Blue Hunt. Mirage is an illusionist. That could work.
Mm-hmm.
She's also Native American. Or supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, it's a diversity thing.
Do we know anything about the actor? Is she...
She's fairly new, so
she's not like the Johnny Depp style Native American, is she?
She doesn't look.
She appears
Native
rather
American.
Caucasian in her picture, but
it's difficult to tell.
No, just because the Johnny Depp thing really bummed me out. But that's a separate thing.
That's important because it's important for a number of reasons. One, the whole Demon Bear saga that I mentioned. That it's Mirage who has that inner demon.
Who bumps to the limbo dimension?
No,
that's magic.
That's magic.
Who's Mirage?
With a K.
Mirage. So this illusionist character, she's haunted by herding demons, not in a literal sense, but then it embodies as the demon bear when her illusion powers get out of control.
Okay, that would lead into totally the weird
that could totally
hand pressy on the wall.
Yeah, the hand pressy wall thing.
The Freddy Krueger moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Freddy Krueger, exactly.
So I can see where they're going with that. It has the demon bear lineage. Of course, they got the whole problematic thing of her being Native American and then leaning it into that magical background, which can lead you into some unfortunate stereotypes.
Yeah.
Which, it being out of the 80s, is something that you can look at in the comics and go, well, that was of its time when we've moved on from that.
Yeah.
But if you're leaning into that heavily in this film, that could be problematic. But we'll see. And then finally you've got Henry Zaga playing Sunspot, Roberto da Costa. You've seen Sunspot, he's in the beginning of Days of Future Past. He's
Fireman.
Yeah, he absorbs some light for power, gets super strong, projects fire, can fly a little bit. Again,
it's like if Superman were a disruptor.
Yeah, pretty much.
Absorb sunlight and spit fire.
Pretty much. Yeah. Super hot fire.
Mutant powers. I got them.
Again, it doesn't seem mega appropriate for confined horror-esque.
So you've got out of these 5 characters, you've got 3 characters whose powers can lean into that, and 2 characters who are just there, which is weird. So it's
what's the betting that the majority of the plot for all of them, bar maybe one, is no, don't use your powers. I'm afraid to. Oh, all right, then I won't. And then at the end, they'll all come together and use their powers, and the day will be saved.
I mean, we'll see. It's early days.
Yeah, I hesitate to speculate too much, but just from the kind of how derivative the trailer seems, that kind of plot device wouldn't be out of place. Yeah. I don't think. Just from what I've seen.
Yeah.
It remains something I have little to no interest in.
Yeah. And I mean, if they've shot this thing so quickly and shoving it out in April, I imagine it's the kind of thing Fox has little to no interest in, to be honest. Other than keeping their license, basically.
Yeah, it's like we got Logan came out early last year. We need to make sure there's an X-Men film comes out early this year. and then we'll move on.
Actually, my best hope for it is that Fox not being that interested or invested in it means that the filmmakers have a bit of freedom and it ends up being interesting.
Has that ever been the case?
Deadpool?
Deadpool had some very, very extraordinary circumstances around that thing's release.
That's true. That's true.
You know, that came with a whole bunch of caveats.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things needed to happen for Deadpool
and of course,
to happen.
Ryan Reynolds threw his weight behind it, which
and also,
inconsiderable.
also intentionally leaked a whole
bunch
bunch
of
of concept
footage.
footage.
Like, he used his clout to get that stuff out there, and then threw his weight behind it.
So this doesn't seem to be having the same kind of thing. I would imagine that it is, as firmly under, Fox's thumb as possible to be.
Jesus, Charlie, I've been talking about this film for 20 minutes.
Can we move on? Please, I tried to divert us.
I'm so
you wouldn't
sorry.
let me, man.
I'm so sorry.
I think we've spent more time talking about it than anyone behind the scenes.
Speaking of the kid from Stranger Things with weird hair.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about Black Panther. No. So, we also weirdly...
Oh, my Christ. I can see how you fuckers waffle on so much
now.
now.
That's the problem. I'm so invested in the franchise that I
Which
have
one? The Stranger Things franchise?
Yeah, Stranger
Let's
Things.
talk about that.
Yes,
please.
No, yes. I'm a victim of my own obsession, but yes, Stranger Things. Looks fucking great. Weird time to drop a trailer.
Good.
2 weeks before it comes out.
Well, we're saying maybe it's the Halloween push, though.
Yeah.
Like, people get excited for Halloween. Let's remind them there's something that they're going to binge watch.
And also something coming out with the next Netflix kind of model. It doesn't really matter.
No.
So whenever that trailer comes out, it's almost irrelevant because the stuff's there and it's available the whole time.
Yeah.
It means it's just that in that lead up to Halloween. Because that's when it's most timely in terms.
They
of...
want to push those subscriber numbers.
That's exactly what it is. The people who have Netflix, they know full well how good Stranger Things are, just considering the numbers of this stuff.
And they know when it's coming because that shit's all over Netflix.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, this is absolutely for the people who are like, oh, I need something spooky to watch over Halloween.
Yeah.
Stranger Things, or lap subscribers, perhaps.
Possible.
Well.
Yeah. But that thing looks good.
Yeah, I mean, let's please spend 20 minutes talking about this because it actually looks great.
It's almost more difficult to talk about. It's just like,
it's
just
looks
straight
really
up good.
It's satisfying already.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, just go watch it. It's like the
I
sort of
don't
thing.
we don't need to speculate on this because it's just like
it's out in 2 weeks.
It's torches and tendrils and terror. Oh my!
We know there's going to be we know Eleven's going to come back somehow. We know Sean Astin's in it. We know everyone else is back.
That I really appreciated.
I like a bit of Sean Astin.
And anyone that's a fan of the
sort of genre,
the stuff that Stranger Things is based on, will really appreciate the Sean Astin.
Because we love a bit of a Goonies connection.
And he's not sort of shameless in a way, because he's
no.
Yeah, he's a nice addition. It's not, necessarily like a Corey Feldman, which might be a bit
most important.
Wait, that guy was only you know what I mean?
Well, Sean Astin is a proven,
tested, elsewhere,
quality actor.
He's Raphael.
He is Raphael.
And he's doing a great job.
True.
He's doing a great job.
I don't see there's any other big additions to the second series, but I don't.
The people who are retroactively going to be a bigger deal. I mean, seeing David Harbour makes me very happy now because I'm like, yay!
Yeah.
Oh, and also Hellboy. I forgot about that for a second.
He's now going to be Hellboy, which is good. But yeah, there doesn't seem to be any other huge additions for season 2.
Aside from a giant tentacle Cthulhu monster.
Yes, there is a giant
That's
tentacle
a huge
Cthulhu
addition.
For some reason, I can't see who's playing the giant tentacle Cthulhu monster. It's not something that's being listed here on IMDb.
It'll be the same guy from The Mist.
Okay, I mean, he gets everywhere.
He does that well. He does it a lot. He played the Cloverfield monster.
Oh, yeah.
That guy. He was a stand-in for 5 tripods at once in the Spielberg War of the Worlds.
Yes, yeah.
Gets a lot of work, actually.
Cool.
He's doing alright. He's like the Deep Roy of tall people.
No, but one thing I do hope for Stranger Things Season 2 actually is that Winona Ryder's arc for the season is not just I'm crazy, panicked mother again. Don't get me wrong.
Where's my boy?
Yeah.
Where's my boy? And this thing. What's happening to my boy? Now that he's back, why is he weird?
My boy! I love Winona Ryder in this. I love Winona Ryder.
And she owes this series like a fair amount.
This
like, in
brought her
terms
back
of a
into the
career
public eye.
revival, yeah.
And I think, but I do genuinely think Winona Ryder is a great actress. Who
As do
I've
I.
seen
As do I.
enough of recently.
But
It's good to see her again.
you know, like as the way with these things, stocks rise and they fall.
Yeah. And I think she's turned around and admitted, like, she didn't play the game the way a lot of people did, which is kind of why she faded from the public eye. And she,
and also, you know, not just. I mean, she also was bad at the game.
oh, yeah, well,
You
yeah.
know, what little she did play, she was not good at it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the shoplifting doesn't.
No, it doesn't help. It doesn't help.
It doesn't. But
I mean, it makes things look nice.
And you know, I ain't gonna complain that I'm getting more Winona Ryder.
No.
But I'd just like her to have a little more to do in this season.
I agree. I think that kind of crazed hanging up lights, being quite manic. It was as a perfect amount of that for the entirety of the
absolutely valid reaction for that character to have. Yeah,
if that is just a continuation of that, that could potentially get a bit trying.
Yeah.
But
unless it's harnessed, unless she's
yeah,
got some kind of
but
connection, or she's the expert on. I think I know how to communicate with this, and it's more of a I'm choosing to do this rather than oh my god.
But that would be a very small kind of maybe that could be a problem in a trailer that is so full of
stuff
of like that is
stuff
and like
torches
giving
and
away
streets and new cast members and dreams.
Yeah.
And look at this tentacle thing in the clouds.
It's like it's busy, but it's not messy.
It's
like,
showing
there's
you
a
a
lot
lot
going on in
like
there.
the Star Wars trailers do. It shows you an awful lot, but it doesn't actually tell you anything.
Speaking of, what shows us quite a lot but tells us very little.
We only spent 5 minutes on Stranger Things. What's going on?
But it's much easier. It's much easier to wax lyrical and stuff that's going to cause problems.
Absolutely.
Than because to talk about something that has proven itself to be great and is
showing
only
all
shaping up to be
signs.
great again.
Yeah.
It would be kind of extraneous. Waffling on our part too.
Which not the weird.
Not that you were ever guilty of that.
We're not averse to extraneous waffling here. We thrive on it. But yes.
Besides, the time code for the first section is just going to be called New Mutants: Why?
Why?
So it's technically a discussion rather than a review.
Which is a really open-ended question. Why is this thing? Why are we talking about it so much? Why can't man just let it the fuck go?
Yes. I was feeding you.
I know!
Just feeding you out.
Do you know
yes,
what?
and no, let's carry on.
But no, the other thing I quickly wanted to mention about the Stranger Things is the soundtrack, not just the final, like the really weird 90-degree kind of hard turn into the theme song.
So the Wonder Woman-esque sort of like hard turn into theme song.
But just the soundtrack throughout this is what I was searching for. Is the is it Philip Glass?
Is it Philip Glass?
No, it's not. No, I'm not saying it's got that kind of sound to it.
But
it's
I know
that
exactly
Watchmen
yeah.
style thing. Like dun 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 dun. That kind of slight synth, slight kind of orchestral sound, which I think's amazing, particularly because it kind of indicates the escalation of what this series potentially could be.
And another reason why you should watch Blade Runner 2049.
I should watch Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah,
I will do
this
it.
fucking score.
Yeah,
the Vangelis-esque.
But not Vangelis. Hans Zimmer by way of Vangelis. Yes. I know exactly what you mean. I mean, strangely enough, that's been one of the things about that original, about Stranger Things that was so arresting, is the score. Because it does, like you say, it does so perfectly encapsulate that sort of escalation and the feel of the period. Visually, it's very beautiful. It's a very beautiful looking thing.
It really is.
Last year's colour scheme obviously was a lot of kind of reds and dark greys and things like that. The series looks like it's embracing more like blues and little bits of green creeping in.
It seems like a long time ago now when something was referred to as televisual as an insult. Yeah. Like it has such a beautiful and unique aesthetic, whilst borrowing heavily from other things, but it's in no way hampered by the fact that it's an episodic.
No.
Yeah.
If anything, it benefits from it because you can tell such a deeper story and have that visual language sort of deepen and broaden across a length of time as opposed to it being, spread over 2.
You can achieve some nuance with it as opposed to kind of like the like M. Night Shyamalan of red stuff is bad.
Yeah. I mean, look at
Like,
something.
you know, you can have like some real, like a whole palette and a whole spectrum
Yeah.
to the sound, the color, and the way, you know, the way things
Did
look and
you
sound.
see
yeah.
American Gods?
I have yet to see American
The American
Gods.
Gods did some beautiful stuff with like visual motifs and sort of colour palette changes and
It
and
rarely
lighting
was a shot
experiments.
untreated in that show,
Yeah.
and in a good way. It was all very consciously.
But like you're saying, that sort of
picking out and-
that televisual broad palette use of theme and stuff. It did that beautifully. I think it's, you know, it is. I think this is all kind of stemming back to Game of Thrones. I think we've touched on this before, how the way like Game of Thrones sort of paved the way for new genre TV, and
Yeah,
also,
I
like,
think
and
a lot is owed to
even
Game of
before
Thrones.
Game of Thrones, like
Game of
Rome
Thrones
kind of put a toe in that water.
I think
And then
Breaking
Game of
Breaking
Thrones,
Bad's
like,
not
pushed through.
genre, but Breaking Bad, I think, was the thing that reminded everybody what like appointment television was.
And real
Again,
long form,
like you will
properly
come
long
back
form
week by
storytelling.
week to find out what happens
Which
next.
which also incidentally lent quite heavily into its kind of visual storytelling and its music storytelling.
Absolutely.
Like upon repeat viewing and reflection, that stuff has got some. You could potentially watch that thing on silent, and you could get
Oh yeah,
an entire kind of visual story told that way.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I've got incredibly high hopes for
Me too.
Stranger Things, but you know that's like saying water is wet. You know that thing is
Yeah,
that thing
it's
is
going to be great.
hit such a home run last time that for it to be anything other than fantastic at this point would be a crushing disappointment. I'd say.
Yeah, but hey, 2017 is not over. We've got room for more crushing disappointments.
That's true.
But-
That's true.
Looking forward against 2018, as you again tried to steer us towards, and we crushed your segue like a bug underfoot.
No, it's good. No, this is my fault for trying to take the reins of a show that's
no,
not mine. I
Look,
apologise.
do take the reins.
as long
I
as
just
you
got
don't-
excited.
as long as you don't freeze.
I never freeze.
Black Panther.
You could, I was waiting for you. To
No,
do that one,
I was
Charlie.
given it, but then I thought it might be better to freeze. He said it with such conviction.
Oh God.
Black Panther.
Yeah.
Ruddy
That
Panther.
looks like a great movie. And like you were
This
saying
is-
earlier, showed you so much, tells you absolutely nothing.
This is its second full trailer, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
Yeah, we had like
I think technically the first one was a teaser.
What's the differentiation?
Marketing speak, basically.
Yeah, it's like
marketing box.
Teaser trailers tend to come in about a minute and a half.
Oh,
at
it's to do
most.
with length.
Yeah, and like full trailers come in like upwards of 2 minutes, nearly 3, depending on
Right.
the film.
All we know is by Jingos. Like you say, this one doesn't really give too much away, but we at least know it's going to be a
No.
big focus on
It gives
T'Challa and what he wants, like what his place is in his kingdom now.
Yeah,
Like,
again,
you're
it-
king
it
of
is-
your own nation.
It's
What
establishing
do you do
visual language.
Yeah. It's like
And,
how
yeah.
what effect are you going to make? What is the
Mm.
world he rules over? Who are his people? Who are his warriors who fight on his side? Who are the people who are rising up to make a point?
Yeah, because as someone who has no real knowledge of Black Panther or
I mean, I'm
had
not-
any interest prior to...
I'm not particularly up on Black Panther lore, like it's not a core of the Marvel Universe I'm particularly well versed in.
My only knowledge of him for a long time was just that he was Storm's husband for a bit.
Yeah.
That's all I knew of him. I was like, oh, he's cool. Then I bought the action figure.
So I'm coming into this as a relatively sort of blank slate, and it's sort of an immediate like, I don't know much about this guy, but I certainly want to know more.
He's a cool motherfucker, I'll
Yeah.
tell you that.
It was such a smart freaking decision to debut the character in Civil War, to pick a different stage where everyone's eyes were already on it, and go, while we're here, meet T'Challa. Like,
Which again gave him his
Yeah.
kind of sort of impetus to,
Yeah.
to like from there, like sowing the seeds of that kind of character development. There, not just going here he is, but also
Yeah.
why he will be.
Again, like,
You know,
now seeing film
Look,
moving
Simba,
towards
everything the light touches
Yeah.
will be in the next film. But right now,
Yeah.
For some people's complaints about it, like seeing film move towards long form storytelling in an episodic way, which
Very specific
yeah,
studio films.
it has its detractors, that style, and it has its imitators which have completely failed to grasp that sort of style.
all of them.
Yeah,
None
like
of them
I
have
mean,
managed.
it's been laughable, laughably tragic in a way. I mean, look at We got, I think, I don't know if we mentioned it, but the Dark Universe, the next Dark Universe film has been postponed.
Well,
I've been put by
that thing died. That thing was dead.
It's cancelled because of how fucking terrible The Mummy was. Because what?
Here's an idea. If you're going to start episodic filmmaking, don't tell us that's what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
Just
this whole
start.
Marvel thing worked. It worked because it grew. Well, it grew as organically as a big corporate maneuver can.
Yeah.
I think they had the basic game plan, didn't they? Of like, we're doing Iron Man, and Paramount are doing Hulk, and we've had a word with them, and we're going to put a little teaser at the end of Hulk that ties it to Iron Man. And we'll see how people feel about that idea.
Yeah, I don't
whilst
think
we planned some pre-production on 3 other movies. Oh, people liked it. Right, filler movie, Iron Man 2. Let's keep the ball rolling and put all of our money into Thor and Captain America, and then we'll see if we can do the big party film. Oh, we did! This is great!
The thing that everyone beyond Marvel seemed to be getting so totally wrong is that they are sacrificing the short-term beginning, middle, end of the film for the long form, bigger picture stuff, which is not what Marvel did. It was such a slow burn, and like they would drop, story seeds here, there, and they would gradually let those kind of branch out and grow elsewhere.
Because I think if anything, they learned from Iron Man 2 feels a little overstuffed with that stuff.
Exactly.
They definitely learned from that and pulled back on it.
Yeah, Iron Man 2 was a placeholder.
They kind of got back into it with Age of Ultron. Like that was a little hairy.
But if you compare it to the rest of the market, what they do, the first film, like you have your Man of Steel, that is neither here nor there. You go into Batman v Superman, and that spunks its load.
It's just
everywhere. You spunk 10 years
worth
of growth and development
in
a 3-hour film.
There is literally a teaser trailer for the other superheroes in the film. Like
the JPEG moment.
Yes, Lex Luthor's done graphic designs for and everything.
It's creating his own logos.
It's completely misunderstanding why we found that Marvel stuff interesting to begin with.
Because everyone's playing catch up, everyone's front loading. Meanwhile, Marvel are just going, you know what? We can actually afford to make some mistakes and make some silly decisions, like Inhumans and Iron Fist and things like that. So it's kind of given them they bought that goodwill up front, so now they have the freedom to fuck up.
Yeah.
Although Black Panther doesn't look like it's going to be a fucking... It looks like it's going to be another sort of... Which they kind of have to... They have to go strong on this stuff now because they're moving into the next generation of...
Well, yeah, as contracts are going to gradually coming up, and they are... and very, very firmly established members of that... long-form story are going to be dropping away.
We're not going to be able to get many more movies out of Robert Downey Jr. Like, regardless of his...
there isn't enough money on the planet at this point.
One, they're not going to be able to afford him past a certain point, and two, he's in his 50s.
Yeah, he...
Like...
Just give him the Nicholson deal, he'll show up.
And also, not just...
He's in a bloody good shape, but he's still in his 50s.
Yeah, not just for the sake. It's worth it just for the content, because he's been there for 11 years?
Yeah.
Over 12 years by the time... 12, 13 years by the time Infinity War's done.
And like you mentioned, like with Stranger Things with Winona Ryder, I think he owes a debt to Marvel Studios for taking that chance and like relaunching his career and making him...
the biggest star on the planet.
A bigger star than he ever was when he was at his peak before that, before he went off the rails completely. Like they've pulled him back from the brink and put him all over the world. Like
they pulled him out of that cave and they stuck an artificial heart in his
chest.
chest.
He built this in a cave.
The House of Mouse is Robert Downey Jr.'s brand new heart.
His heart has
reconstructed after years of massive heroin.
His heart is now 3 consecutive circles, concentric circles.
I think it's this movie is sort of the first of that next wave that really need to land.
It needs to,
and I think we're like in terms of quality, it looks the dog's bollocks.
It's it's so cool.
Just the talent involved as well.
Oh god,
yeah.
Like, just my god, like it's nuts.
God, yeah.
That man
behind and in front of the camera. Did you see? I've got to bring it up.
Go on,
It's,
please.
it's hilarious. I think it's doing the rounds as a tweet at the minute for can we archive this as one of the best terrible puns in history? Where basically someone pointed out the poster which was released the same day, which is all the cast members, like sort of same main cast members, like villains, heroes, supporting cast, and someone pointed out it's weird to see just like two white guys on the poster amidst a sea of non-white faces.
Only two.
It's different.
So
It's
many
just
people, two white men.
It's Bilbo and Gollum.
Yeah.
And someone replied absolutely perfectly. They're the Tolkien white guys.
Very good.
Freaking perfect. It was beautiful.
Very good.
So good. It's beautiful. But it is again not to go too deep into it because I'm an idiot. I'm not very articulate. But it is refreshing to see a big poster for an upcoming massive studio release that isn't as weird as it sounds to say like a sea of white faces.
No,
it's refreshing.
It's true because it's another.
It's almost like a wake up in a way.
Yeah. like the whole kind of nonsensical theory that's all female casts they don't sell. Or if it's people of colour, they don't sell.
It's weird.
It's completely bizarre, and I'm almost certain this film will, show that up completely.
It's strange. I as a white man looking at this film full of characters of colour, and I find that I have no trouble relating to the cast or the events on screen, almost as if it doesn't really matter what ethnicity the people on the screen are.
You're taking notes? Most of fucking Hollywood?
Because
you're taking notes?
Yes, we may be from different cultures, but we all have a base level of the human experience that we can interrelate with.
Right.
Come on.
I agree that it is utterly irrelevant, but it is almost certainly a point of contention that will come up once the film is released.
And it's nice to see a studio throw the weight behind that.
Yeah.
Because it's going to prove, in the same way that I think Wonder Woman proved a point in that a female-led, female-directed action genre film can do well. Not just do well, but be good.
Yeah, not just commercially, but also critically as well. Yeah.
And that was also a win that Warner Brothers fucking badly needed with their DC movies. Whether they can capitalise on that remains to be seen.
There's a lot of goodwill that they were able to kind of recover from the previous few films.
Dawn of Jaundice and Big Old Silly Squad, whatever it was. Yeah.
And I think...
What are we? Some kind of mediocre movie squad?
Yes, you are.
Someone get Wonder Woman out.
I think Disney are quite smart about this because I think they've also done well to build their Star Wars franchise off the back of a female and a black lead.
Yes.
And having those two characters be like the forefront.
Oh, so just to clarify, just because of audio, that it's more of like a cynical marketing move? Or that it's smart because...
I don't think it's a cynical marketing move. I think it's a smart marketing move.
I think Disney are sort of what a lot of people are unfortunately referring to it as like pushing it. But I think they're doing it because they're like, have you noticed that everyone else has no problem with it?
Yeah.
Small group of people with loud voices complaining.
It's
both within the business side of it and the audience side of it. Star Wars Forces of Destiny, for example. All these animated shorts and action figures they've been releasing, the dolls.
They are slightly...
Well, yeah, but they've all been female lead characters. There hasn't been any male lead character of these.
Yeah.
But in the same way, I just find that refreshing because they've been putting out the toys for it, for example. And it's like, there's no overtly pink thing about it or anything like this. It's just like, suddenly girls have got Rey with a blaster and BB-8 in the girls section. And it's like, good, okay. So that's what Forces of Destiny in that sense was going, hey, look, kids love this shit too. Girls are buying these toys. Boys are watching the cartoon that it's based on. Like,
I have a pair
what's your problem, marketing people?
I have a pair of close friends who have... Who have two children.
Where are
they? Shush. who have two children. The youngest is... I apologise, I'm going to get her age wrong. She's 6. I don't
think the 6-year-old's listening. Maybe 6-year-old.
She's a little girl, she's 6. And she... As much as she loves, like, the pink princessy stuff and the Disney princess, like Frozen, Tangled, Moana stuff. I mean, Moana being a Disney princess and the sort of the less traditionally feminine and also westernized culture aspects of that character in that film is the fact that she as a British white girl relates so strongly to that. I think says something about the the ubiquity of humanity as opposed to cultural and ethnic borders, shall we say. But then again, she's also big into superhero stuff because there have started to emerge enough female superhero characters in, not necessarily in I think live action film can still do better, but in media as a whole, like she loves DC superhero girls, which is absolutely a cynical cash grab aimed at the young girl market, but it's working. And you know, regardless of the cynical, I mean, Disney have got plenty of cynical implications, but they're still doing good stuff and important stuff. It's giving an in and strong female role models to girls. I mean, she loves Rey from Star Wars. She loves Black Widow. She loves Supergirl. She loves Wonder Woman. And it's just really great to see this 6-year-old girl light up when she talks about superheroes. As someone who's loved superheroes as long as I can remember, that sort of unity.
And it is good that a studio as influential and enormous and powerful as Disney and Marvel are bankrolling this.
Yeah, you have a responsibility to push that.
Yeah, because it is their responsibility because they are the most visible. They are being seen by the most eyes, and it like even sort of aside from a business thing, because it does make perfect sense as a business thing.
Oh yeah.
But as a company kind of pushing forward culturally, it is they are duty bound to put their weight behind this, and it's because that kind of stuff will end up trickling down.
Yeah, the big guys have to do this.
Yeah, you prove to the world, to the people that have been erroneously saying that, you know, female directed, written, led films, they can't make money.
Yeah,
you prove to them that they can.
Mm-hmm.
You say you're told that an all black cast, you know, cannot possibly make money beyond very specific markets. You prove them wrong, because anyone with any kind of lick of sense knows that that's not true, and it is up to you as the you know the most. Yeah. But anyway, sorry, I think we've
no, absolutely. No, we live.
Black Panther looks super good.
We live these conversations. I love getting into the sort of. I think that's where pop culture is important, because it allows you to jump into.
Because that's the thing that superheroes and the sort of comic genre films can do. Because the whole point is that those barriers, they aren't there. Like, it's the great equalizer.
And you go back to earlier comics, and that's absolutely not the case. Like, I'm reading a lot of Marvel, and a lot of stuff is like super racist in retrospect.
Particularly in Iron Man.
Iron Man. There's a lot of yellow peril characters in Iron Man, and a lot of evil commies in Iron Man and Thor, strangely. Like, there's a lot of evil commies. I don't know what that's about. But
because Thor's such a great representation of truth, justice in the American way. You know, this Nordic god.
This Aryan figure. Oh god, that's unfortunate.
But it is literally the thing that, you know, children can be looking at, and it can be this kind of aspirational thing. You know?
If you buy into the idea, as I do, of comic books and particularly superheroes as modern myth.
Oh good, exactly.
Modern mythology, then that allows you to, and I said this about genre storytelling, particularly science fiction before, it allows you to hold that mirror up to reality and use it as social commentary and a way of telling stories that can inspire us to do better. That's why I like Superman as a character, even though he's so often executed badly. But the idea of the character is so brilliant.
It's like, look, we can be better.
Yeah.
Look at this man.
Yeah.
This
Superman.
Which is why I get so worked up about the character, despite like there not being so much of him that's bad, because people just don't get that. I mean, that's why I remember when we saw Man of Steel together, Charlie and I.
We did,
and I remember saying at the time that I liked that first half a lot, because it was I felt like it was kind of building up Superman as this folk hero and that his inspirational figure, and then it just kind of pissed away after the halfway point.
Turned into a punching contest.
You went nowhere with it.
What a beautiful score.
The more I think about
Superman theme, Jesus, so good.
It's that film gets rougher as as you continue to watch. But it
and I thought it started off with some promise as well.
It really did.
Yeah.
It really did.
And absolutely pissed it away.
But so I'm really excited for Black Panther.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of those whose work I have seen of the cast. From just the visual style, the soundtrack to the trailer, the song choice,
both the trailers as well. Just like that.
It's real good.
That first one, the step into the spotlight. It was just like, okay, bring out this new property. Let's do it.
Style on displays just unbelievable. It's Ryan Coogler, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's
Creed.
Michael
B. Jordan alumni, no?
Yes. He directed and wrote Creed with Michael B. Jordan and Fruitvale Station with Michael B. Jordan,
which is also great. Because we see Michael B. Jordan as well as one of the very few actors, I would say, at this point, because the age of the A-listers kind of coming to an end. I think it doesn't exist in the same way that it used to.
And you can also,
but he's got that thing about him where even if he is, and he has been, in something truly awful, there is something about him that makes his time on screen worthwhile.
Like I was saying earlier, he's the only person to come out of Fantastic Four unscathed. Which he has, because
he really has. Yeah,
I think largely in part to Creed not being too far apart from Fantastic Four. Yeah. They were pretty close together.
And Marvel's openness on giving Human Torches another chance.
Oh yeah, they love doing that. But just
we're sorry your movie's sucked. Hey, be Captain America.
But it's one of those things. You'll forgive him for Fantastic Four. One, because he's the best thing in it, and two, because then you just go and watch Creed and go, that guy is a fucking
you would have to be a pretty poor business person in the film industry to not look at Michael B. Jordan and go, there is money there.
Oh man,
you put this guy in the right position and market the film in the right way. I can see the smirk, Chris.
Here's episode 69.
God.
Just a reminder, this is episode 69 of the Giant Bombcast. I'm here with Chris
this is
and
not
Matt.
the Giant Bombcast.
Giant Bombcast.
I wish it was a Giant Bombcast.
It is now.
I got into radio voice.
We're not. This is not the Giant Bombcast. I am not Jeff Goldblum.
I was in radio voice.
With the Podquisition.
I got into radio voice. I apologise. They've had significantly more than 69.
I'm Aaron Menke, and this is Law. It's not.
God.
Hello, welcome to my brother and me, an advice show for the modern era. I'm your oldest brother, Justin McElroy. No, we're not doing that. Any other podcast intros anyone can remember?
No.
I'm Roman Mars. That's every podcast on NPR. So,
what's next on the contents, you giddy goose?
So just to summarise of the three trailers that we have seen that we spent an hour talking about: New Mutants, nay, Strange Things,
yay,
Black Panther,
fuck
so
yes,
so hard.
So
I'm gonna pass out.
A nay and 2 yays from this week.
Yay!
Dun, 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 dun.
Now,
dun, 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 dun. I don't like the Daily Show. It just seemed to fit. I don't know why.
we don't talk about video games on this show very often, particularly often.
No.
Because we play them on YouTube.
Because we do play them on YouTube.
You bastards. Go watch them.
But there's some stuff happened this week which I felt compelled to talk about.
You did. Because you're being paid, you shill. That's not true.
I wish I was. EA, Electronic Arts.
What have they done this
one of the
time?
Biggest publishers in the world.
Is it weird that when you said their initials, I just wanted to go, sports, it's in the game. And then I felt a bit sick.
So,
but these guys are huge.
EA,
they are the bigwigs.
EA owned Visceral Games, who created the Dead Space franchise, one of my favourite horror games of all
This
time.
is what I was looking up on my phone earlier. I was looking at their list of things that they have.
They started off as another EA-owned studio, and then when EA was working on Dead Space, they renamed them Visceral.
This is one of the few studios that EA is kind of grown and nurtured in house,
Yeah,
and to
it's
some
an
level
in-house
of
studio.
some level of success.
So they created Dead Space, and then after the Star Wars rights got
acquisition
out there,
from Disney.
yeah, and they put the rights out there. EA really wanted the rights bad, so they basically had every creative in all of their studios coming up with ideas for Star Wars games, and pretty much at the same time as Battlefront was announced, they had, say, Visceral are working on an adventure game, and then a couple of months after that, the Visceral Star Wars game that's going to be single player narrative focused. Oh, guess what? Amy Hennig has left Naughty Dog. She was the writer on Uncharted 1, 2, and 3.
There was a big fallout during Uncharted 4's early development and stuff.
I don't know if it was bitterness. I know she didn't want to do it.
Well, yeah, there was a version of her script, and they'd even begun to record.
Oh no, yeah, I do remember this now. I forgot about this.
Alan Tudyk was Rafe originally, and there was all this other stuff, and they'd done like a good month or two of work on it, and then some internal dispute meant that she went, right, I'm walking, but you can't use my script and my casting, and they were like,
oh really? Took the toys and went home.
So which was fair enough.
Although Uncharted 4 worked out well in the end, so
yeah, but
that bit worked out.
It does feel like the PS to a trilogy. But it's smart that these guys went, Amy Hennig, get over here. Yeah. We want to work with you. You're amazing.
Visceral snap her up.
Yeah. And they set her to work as
Untitled Star Wars
lead
game.
script on this Untitled Star Wars game. Narrative focused, action, Star Wars game, developed by Visceral, made great action games with Dead Space.
And in the absence of the LucasArts slate that was coming out before its kind of liquidation.
I think
I feel a personal kind of need for that kind of narrative.
I think people
13.
13. People had seen that and gone, oh, and I think most people assumed that this Visceral game was a replacement or working off a similar kind of
that's kind of what I was hoping.
Visceral have been closed by EA.
They are dead.
They've been shuttered. And EA have turned around and said that this Star Wars game is being delayed. It was originally slated for late fiscal 2019, which could have been as late as April 2020. That's now been delayed because they're going to refocus the game into a less linear, less narrative-focused single. They're saying that there's not enough market demand for a linear narrative focused single player experience, which means they're going to make Destiny with Star Wars.
It sounds like either the PlayerUnknown's or Battlegrounds or a Destiny or that kind of weird thing. That the focus testers have told us this is popular.
Let's do what the other kids are doing.
And I think
so now Visceral are now on the scrap heap amongst dare I list the studios that have been bought and closed by EA. Bearing in mind Visceral was in fact an in-house grown thing, but just to give you a sense of what the
EA are notorious for buying studios, milking them, and then
throttling them until they turn blue and die, and then adding them to the pile. So Maxis.
Oh
God! The guys behind SimCity and The Sims.
Yeah.
Mythic, who behind Dark. I'm not going to list all the games they're part of. You look it up.
I know Mythic. Yeah.
Bullfrog.
Oh fucking hell!
Origin, Westwood, DreamWorks Interactive, Phenomic, Black Box, Pandemic, Playfish, and NewFX. And this is a 2-year-old article from Kotaku. There have been other studios since.
What are Neversoft doing? Oh no, never. That's Activision.
And just given the kind of, and this is something that's been covered on mediums elsewhere, but this is the cycle that they kind of go by time and time again. To
the point where it almost seems dangerous to even have a conversation with EA as a company now.
And I don't know if I've mentioned this to you before. I can talk about it freely now because the project's done.
Hit us up, baby.
I have been a part of the EA machine at one point or another.
What? Destiny, you were here this week to be in this episode.
I've waffled on about stuff I don't know about. This is something I kind of know a little bit about it.
Please share a showbiz story with us, Charlie.
Charlie's showbiz beat.
Whatever the project's finished now. Whatever NDA I signed is done now. I worked on and off for about 6 months on the Need for Speed that's about to come out.
Okay, yeah.
I did motion capture. I did voiceover, and I was basically one of the player characters.
Yeah.
And so it's 6 months on and off, work. So it's a fairly decent chunk.
Is there a title? I'm going to look at the title.
I think it's. Oh god, it does have a subtitle. I can't remember what it is.
Wed
now.
for spread.
But so basically,
Need for spread.
I had worked on this game for a while, and there was a period of where I was just booked in for voiceover sessions because they didn't need me for motion capture for a bit. And I had maybe half a dozen or so sessions lined up, and before each one, maybe a day before or the day of, they would just cancel, say something's come up. Wait, what? Why?
Right.
And I would speak to people, and they'd say, no, it's a scripting issue. It's nothing to do with you. It's fine. And they were always referred to as the client. EA were the client in this case.
The client have an issue with the script. We're just
yeah, exactly.
It's not you.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's not you.
And just for listeners, this isn't like a sob story. Go fuck yourself, EA. I am also saying that, but this is a kind of parallel story.
A parallel, go fuck yourself.
And it turned out that on the sly, after about half a dozen sessions of just being cancelled and then being sort of told that it was a scripting thing, it turned out that they had just sacked everyone. They just didn't let anyone know. They'd sacked and replaced everyone on the kind of creative. Like, on the people on the floor, like on the kind of ground level.
Yeah.
Like, the programmers and whatnot sort of above that were fine. But just, they'd done...
So, like, the guys in charge
we've been working kind of
directing, and
gone.
Sound engineers, and the actors.
Every single actor that I worked with was gone and replaced.
God.
We don't know why. We were never given an explanation. We were just told... It turns out that I was replaced with someone that a friend of mine, a guy that Matt and I both know.
Oh, excellent.
And the only reason I even found out that I had been sacked and replaced is because he called me quite excitedly saying we were working together. It turns out he had my part.
Oh, no! I believe...
Bless him, he didn't know. He didn't know when he called me.
I believe the game is called Need for Speed Payback. And he's out on November 10th.
It's a bitch.
It's, yeah.
Oh my god.
I wonder if you're going to be able to play that and go, I did that
I
bit.
I know those dumb lines.
Oh my god.
No, so on a it's like a real microcosm of what EA are sort of capable of, the kind of callousness at which they are able to operate.
I mean, it's sort of that weird industry coldness thing, I suppose, isn't it? They've gone like, someone else is like, right, we get rid of them, we'll take over.
Yeah, exactly. They have the money.
Should we at least keep this part and these guys? No, just start fresh. Start fresh. We've got the cash. We can start fresh.
I think
what? Because of course, all the footage you guys had recorded and everything. This meant they would have had to have had conversations with the people who were directing you and recording everything, and they didn't want to do that. So we'll just start from scratch.
They're so enormous and sort of unwieldy that they are able to operate in such a way that that kind of sort of financial burden of just 6 months of work from every department just being more or less scrapped isn't an issue for them.
It's a hiccup.
But then, of course, what you get is the game coming out at 50, 60 quid. And then a season pass coming out at 20 plus
exactly.
quid. And then microtransactions, and then loot boxes, and then other stuff. And then turning around and going, you know what? We didn't sell enough and make enough money out of this game. Despite the fact that we sold X million amount of copies, we're going to shut Ghost Games. Like, it's just, like, and it's the homogenous, like, there's that complaint of game publishers, like, sinking money into cancelled projects and then turning around and saying, oh, these games aren't making enough money.
Well, it's like the absurd thing that they had with, going back to Visceral, of them expecting or needing Dead Space 3 to sell, was it 5 or 6 million units in order for it to turn a profit?
And that game was a game that also had microtransactions.
And also
a single player experience that had microtransactions.
It's a fundamental misunderstanding of the audience of that game. that those games were
Absolutely.
never made for everyone.
No.
There is a kind of sort of vague kind of homogenized kind of appeal that, say, a Call of Duty or something like that will have, where they can appeal to all those people.
And I think
but that's not what Dead Space ever was.
What's alarming about this, especially in the wake of the new wave of sort of loot box microtransaction enabled games across all genres, like Forza 7, NBA 2K18, Shadow of War, particularly Shadow of War, notoriously so in fact, that we're sort of seeing a Destiny 2 as well, this sort of homogenization of mechanics and genre to a sort of vaguely multiplayer, grind it, games as service, MMO-ish. Sort of, this is actually a full price game, but it has free to play style mechanics.
Yeah.
Which, like, because I made no secret of the fact that I play a lot of Marvel Heroes. That's a free to play game funded by microtransactions. I'm okay with the microtransactions.
Because that in itself is a model that is...
Because it is a
consumer-friendly.
Yeah, it's a free-to-play game. And yes, I won't necessarily say it's consumer-friendly, because I think, depending on the way the game is constructed, it can try and extrude more money from you than you might be comfortable giving. But at that point in time, you have that thing in your mind of like, okay, I'm playing a free-to-play game, I can either grind this out, or if I want it, I'm going to pay money for it. And you know what? If I like this game enough, I'll pay X amount of money for whatever bit of content, because that's how this game survives. What I don't want to do is pay full price for a game, then pay up to half the price of the game again for more content that, in a lot of cases, should have been in the original game, and then, to avoid grinding out these ridiculous free-to-play style mechanics, then pay real money for either stuff that I could earn if I had more time, but it's balanced so you don't want to spend that time doing it, or fucking blind random boxes of stuff that may or may not be useful. I flirted with that stuff way back when Mass Effect 3 came out. I flirted with that had blind loot boxes in its multiplayer, which you could earn with in-game currency, or you could pay money for. I spent a little bit of money on that, probably about 20-25 quid all in all, for a few boxes.
But it was your choice, and it wasn't something that was
my
crucial
choice to do that.
It wasn't a pay to win type.
No,
situation.
absolutely not. Like, I had good gear. I was like, can I level up this bit of gear? And I did enough of those to be like, actually, I spent this amount of money and I didn't really get what I wanted, so, like, if I'm not willing to put the time in to unlock this without spending money, then I'm not bothered.
Well, the thing that's so kind of, I guess, disappointing, but also not in any way surprising, is because...
Isn't it depressing that that's a sentence standard now?
Is that, well, EA has been able to get itself so, gluttonous and fattened on the teats of these other studios, that other unique studios that were producing, individual, unique, pieces of entertainment, content, whatever you want to call it. And they absorb it, and it becomes homogenized, and it becomes one and the same after a while. It all merges, and it becomes this like gloopy soup of nothing. And then you end up with Dead Space with microtransactions. You end up with, this stuff that isn't in any way unique, that is just borrowing badly from other stuff.
That mid-level sort of game has disappeared.
Yeah, like this is what I know, but this is another thing I wanted to bring up actually, is because the team from, is it Platinum? Whereas they kind of broke away from kind of a sort of more overhead sort of studio control and took it upon themselves to fund not Heavenly Sword.
Hellblade. It's not Platinum. It's Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory.
Yeah.
And
oh yes, I've seen Hellblade. I've not played it.
I have played and I've finished Hellblade. It's really good, and it's a very, very singular vision.
Yeah,
it has come from a team that has got an idea that they want to follow up on, and an idea that absolutely would not have been allowed under EA's or any other kind of publication.
And this is something that I know we reference him a lot, but Jim Sterling has talked about in his various shows, and it's hyperbole, but actually not that far from the truth. Large game publishers would rather make no money than all the money.
It does seem
they
that
either want
way.
to make all money or no money. They can't just make some money. It has to be all or nothing. It has to be the next big world conquering game, or they won't bother with it.
Because they themselves have sort of created an environment where these things need to be blockbusters. They need to create this kind of, and they have to put so much marketing into these things, and it becomes this sort of huge thing, unwieldy thing that it's got no.
And I think we're seeing the game industry do now what the film industry did like 20, 30 years ago.
Oh, the indie boom of the 90s.
Yes, where that studio system gets so bloated and claps under its own weight, but at the same time, the equipment and pipeline to publishing for independence, the barrier to entry is so much lower than it's ever been, to the point where people can now push out, especially on consoles, like the push with indie stuff on like late life PS3, PS4, PS Vita, Xbox One, idea Xbox stuff that launched with the Xbox One, at Steam as well, although that's gone
bad
like they've completely fucked that.
That is definitely the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Yeah. It's basically what the Steam storefront is at this point.
But like we are seeing that indie resurgence, which I'm talking about when I say the middle's gone. Like it's either that bit attempt at big blockbuster, world shattering, big game,
huge game,
or it's a tiny indie game. And it's very rarely in between.
This is why Hellblade was so refreshing.
Hellblade was that sort of
had its problems,
game.
And there were moments where I found myself incredibly frustrated at it, and I wouldn't say it was by design. I would say that there were moments in that thing where it was unintentionally frustrating.
Yeah.
But the thing that I really, really appreciated about it is that it was clearly, clearly they had a huge amount of help from people that suffer from kind of mental health issues.
Yeah,
that's
it seems like they did their homework.
The game focused on a lot, but it didn't seem like a game that was made by committee, or that it was having to. That it wasn't being focus tested.
No. You get the sense that it's a game where the creative director has said to people as they've gone, "I'm not sure about hate. Don't worry. Just trust me on this.
This is what we're doing. This
will all make sense when
we all in on this idea.
Yeah.
Let's push forward with this idea. Then. Let's not sacrifice the singular vision that we all have.
For me personally, I think it says a lot that I've not really bought any new games recently. Because they haven't got that vision. I mean, I bought Injustice because I think it was a good fighting game, but there's nothing like artistically singular about that game. It's a DC superhero fighting game. Like,
I didn't pick that up to be like, I can't wait to dive deep into the story. I picked it up to be like, I enjoyed the first one. I can't wait to see how they've improved. I can't wait to see what
Warner Brothers have done this time.
Yeah. The closest thing to that sort of artistic vision thing that you kind of got. At that blockbuster high-end level is probably, in the recent memory, is Horizon Zero Dawn, which Guerrilla Games have it's their first big thing that isn't Killzone, and it's 100% single-player focused, but although it tells a good story and has a clear vision narratively, it is very much an open world exploration game.
It takes elements that have been proven elsewhere.
Exactly.
It's Tomb Raider, Far Cry Primal, like that kind of...
The Zelda kind of model, the new open world Zelda model.
And strangely, Doom from last year.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Absolutely. It takes so much of what modern first-person shooters do.
Is that Bethesda?
Yeah. But it's id developed.
Yeah.
Bethesda published. It takes so much of what modern shooters do and just fucking throws it away.
Like a monitor being thrown away by Doom guy.
But this is what I would like to see from now, particularly given that there's a sort of middling but passionate fan base. I would like to see the Visceral guys do. I think that they have enough stock left, just as a unit amongst themselves, to take that forward and be autonomous.
And I absolutely don't want to see them do what sort of like Japanese developers have done and sort of break away and become independent and kickstart a game which is basically an in all but name remake of what made them famous, like the Mega Man guy did with Mighty Number 9.
There was Mighty Number 9 and there was
the Castlevania guy is doing with Bloodstained, although that might actually turn out to be pretty good from what I've seen of it. And yeah, like Rare did with Ukulele. I don't want to seem like go off and make
Dead Space 3.5
like Death Void. Oh, like, I don't want to see that. Like, I don't want to see them do another.
But I mean, given their track history, even before the sort of visceral days. But even in the days before they were visceral, they had a storied history on a variety of things.
Yeah, it was just Dead Space and that visceral brand name change because that was at a period when EA was very much trying to rebrand itself into. We are a publisher that will help nurture smaller studios and fresh ideas.
We work with the smaller
and there was like
kids
a wave of like
things.
really interesting games that came out because that's the time you got stuff like Mirror's Edge as well.
Yeah,
which again didn't succeed and died straight away.
Yeah, because interesting idea and then
so it's
a shame. It's a real shame, and I can only hope that they're demonstrably very talented team is used properly elsewhere, or assuming they don't form something else amongst themselves.
But it's okay, Charlie, because if you want a focused narrative, linear single player adventure, there's always South Park: The Fractured Butthole.
Please do tell.
Which I actually have. I've only experienced it vicariously through my partner, because she's the bigger South Park one of the two of us, and I didn't finish Stick of Truth, and I know you both did.
I did
liked it
twice now.
It seems like it's more of that with different combat and
Butters as the villain.
Yeah.
Which makes me sad, because I like Butters, and I don't have to fight Butters. I don't have to beat up Butters. He's adorable!
I mean, I've not got a great deal to say about it, other than it seems like it looks gorgeous. It's, got all the production value that you'd expect from South Park, which is strange that despite the fact that they do 6 days to air, that show always fucking looks great. And it's always, like, it sounds, like, the voice acting's always spot on, because it's always the same fucking...
With the same three voices, slightly
and one woman. But it's always, like, it's always quality made, regardless of what you think of the writing and the humour. Your mileage may vary with that.
How odd is it that it took the South Park property so long to create a game?
It wasn't for lack of trying.
They
did plenty.
Looked like the show, because they made a lot of shit. Like, there was a kart racer.
There was a kart racer.
There was a first-person shooter. I played on.
They were both N64 games, I think. Oh no,
I played on PlayStation 1.
PlayStation 1.
I think it was N64 as well, but it was the curse of licensed games for years. That's a recent phenomenon when those things aren't necessarily poisoning.
I think it was Arkham Asylum, maybe, that was the first...
The first one I vividly remember was Wolverine, maybe. Was that before or after?
Wait, hang on. Are you talking about X2 Wolverine's Revenge?
No,
X-Men Origins.
Origins, God.
It's certainly better than the film.
They're both up there.
I don't know that it's...
But that kind of sort of taint on licensed games isn't necessarily as immediately obvious as it used to be.
That was probably the first licensed game where I could turn around and go, wow, this is actually way better than the fucking film is based on.
So the fact that South Park took ages to get, like The Simpsons has been running infinitely longer, and arguably has a bigger fan base. I don't know.
We booted up Hit and Run the other day.
People like Hit and Run. Is Hit and Run good?
It's fine. It's fine.
People like Hit and Run more than they should like Hit and Run.
If you enjoy the early PS2 era GTA games, you'll have fun with it.
Okay.
Do not.
I do not.
They have aged unwell.
Yeah.
Actually, they were...
I have a soft spot for Vice City, but I think that's just the 80s cheese that gets me through it.
And writing and design can kind of take you a long way, but then gameplay is
This is
bad.
not to say that licensed games are universally good now, because they are absolutely not.
No.
Deadpool.
Deadpool's bad.
Lego Jurassic World.
I forgive Deadpool slightly just because
I fucking horrible.
I have platinum.
It's fucking horrible.
You and Lucy, the only two people who have stayed with that game. I gave that and Lego Pirates of the Caribbean are the two Lego games I play where I've gone, nah, I just can't be bothered.
I think that's the one thing Denise wasn't bothered about losing in the fire.
What, Lego Jurassic
Lego
World?
Jurassic World.
There you go.
Actually, she ended up with it.
I was
like,
no, take it.
Why did
Take it,
this
flames.
survive?
You deserve
Throws
not
it
only
to
a
the fire.
platinum trophy, but a goddamn medal
Yeah,
for getting through
fucking
that.
hell.
Like,
I-
unlock your 100th character.
I spent
Security guard from scene 6 of the third movie.
Jesus.
I spent a lot of time on trains last year, and it's.
Oh, were you playing it portable?
I was playing on the Vita.
Fair
No,
enough.
no.
Do you know, well,
If I had other
the Vita version,
home distractions.
the Vita version's the GB.
It's the
GB,
it's
what am I on about?
3DS
The 3DS version, isn't it?
Quite possibly.
Yeah, because there's a lot of screen interaction.
'Cause I've
I've got
got
Lego Movie on Vita.
I've got Lego
so, yeah.
Batman 2 and Lego Lord of the Rings as plus games on the Vita, and they're just like slightly up-res versions of the 3DS games.
Maybe I'll enjoy that.
They're fine.
I might enjoy that version
But-
of Jurassic World.
Crucially, they're shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
they're sort of level sections.
because I think that's the
aren't
thing that's gotten me about Lego games now is that they're so long. Because like I really
That's
like.
another thing. How have Traveller's Tales?
Yeah.
How have they managed to get away with that for so long?
I don't think they can get. I think Lego Dimensions
For all the
is
grief
showing
that-
they can't get.
Lego
In terms of homogenization,
Lego
of
Dimensions,
Yeah.
Lego Dimensions feels like a grand finale. Almost
Yeah.
like, right, no more now, guys. No more. We're
I
done.
don't remember a time when
We've
Traveller's
finished.
Tales didn't just do Lego.
The first one was Lego
Star
Star
Wars?
Wars in 2000 and.
It was
either-
PS2,
Was
wasn't
it
it?
2004, 2005?
No, it was early because it was before Revenge of the Sith came out, so it was either late 2002 or early 2003 because it had.
No, Revenge of the Sith 06, wasn't it?
2005. 2005.
Oh,
Revenge of
5
the
maybe,
Sith,
sorry.
I thought we saw 3.
No, Revenge
No,
of the Sith
no, you're
2000
right. No, you're right. It's 2000.
2005, but they released Lego Star Wars, and then
Was
they
it
released
2005?
then they
Yeah, it
released
was.
Lego Star Wars the prequel trilogy,
Yeah,
and then we got one of the PS3
No.
one of the PS3 launch titles was the complete saga.
no, the original.
Which
yeah,
was both
yeah,
games
the original
put
one was
together.
the prequel trilogy. The sequel was the original trilogy.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it must have been
So
2005.
The
then.
original, yeah, because the
2005. Then
Yes,
they could have
yeah,
shut
first
yeah.
out.
Lego Star Wars
They
was
could
the
have shut
prequel
out.
trilogy.
They
Yeah.
could have shut out the original trilogy in 2006, and then 2007 was the complete saga.
Yeah.
Like combined.
And
game
then they've
on
been
the
almost
PS3.
yearly since then, and they've had some fucking barrel scraping licenses. They've had 2 Indiana Jones games.
And
was
yeah,
two?
There was 2. They
What?
did Indiana
The
Jones.
first 3 films, then after Crystal Skull came out,
Yeah,
they just
they
did a whole
they
one
did
on
a
Crystal
Crystal
Skull.
Oh my god!
they
The thought
do
of that makes me feel
Pirates
sick.
of the Caribbean.
That's dreadful.
I
I took that with me on my first Panther. That was like one of 2 games I brought with me. I've not played that one. I like a Lego game. Just turn my brain off and enjoy myself. Stick a podcast on. I'll take that. And on my 5th day, I was like, I'm gonna go on Amazon and buy a game or 2.
Yeah.
I need to play a game.
Two-
I need to play a game.
I need a
now.
way to rest and relax away from my games.
Yeah.
2 Harry Potter games
Yeah, so Traveller's Tales
and
about
a complete
people.
and
Yeah,
a complete
complete,
like
yeah.
Harry Potter collection.
Although that one I think is played in like a you go on the main menu and you select number 1.
Yeah.
And also, that's not really
Yeah.
scraping the barrel as far as licenses go, really.
Marvel
is it?
superheroes
Which is
and Avengers.
Marvel superheroes, which is great.
Avengers is bad. Avengers
yeah.
is straight up bad.
Avengers
I
is
played
let's
on- I
copy and paste the New York from Marvel
That is-
superheroes.
that is-
Marvel
limit the
superheroes.
character numbers and include really freaking
And put
obscure
far less
copyright-free
yeah, it's
characters
bad.
in it.
Marvel Superheroes 2, which is around the corner, which has got
I'm a sucker for
everybody's
any game
favourite-
that's got Spidey 2099 on the
everybody's
cover.
favourite Inhumans in it. Because everybody loves the Inhumans now. Everybody loves the Inhumans.
Inhumans are awesome!
Lego Lord of the Rings and Lego The Hobbit.
Which was never finished, was it? It's just the first 2 movies,
Yeah.
with the third one as a planned DLC, and they never did it because the first one,
Planned
the
DLC?
main game, that,
Really?
yeah,
Because
the game
That's
didn't-
so fucking
game-
cynical.
the game.
Fucking hell.
I'd have to check, but I think it was included as part of the purchase.
correct me if I'm wrong.
So it was the
but
whole thing of like get it out there when all
By-
the property is going, and then
by the time
Yeah.
that third Hobbit movie came out, no one cared about The Hobbit. It's almost as if Warner
yeah.
Brothers forced
Yeah.
Peter Jackson to shit all over his own filmmaking legacy.
I forget how
Uh,
this relates to Visceral.
We're getting onto the homogenization of games, and then we got into Traveller's Tales and Lego games.
And
I think that's actually, you know
How
what? That proves
many
our point
Lego
completely.
games there are.
It's all one and the same.
Jesus Christ, let's do emails before I slip my own wrist.
emails
Oh.
from a dark place.
We've got the usual suspects.
Ragtag bunch of
Yeah.
scoundrels and thieves.
I will say, this first lengthy email
Oh.
comes in from everybody's favourite Montague Tom Monty.
Is it Vincent Price?
It's Vincent Price! I don't know why I started doing that. I just started doing it and then it stuck. So now I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
I get to see this.
You're going to have to
Not
lean in.
special.
I'm going to go to the other side of the microphone so I can see it properly.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Dearest Christopher and Matthew, I can't recall whether you've covered or discussed this topic before, so forgive me if you have. Have you watched Train Spotting and its sequel, T2, Train Spotting?
I was going to make that gag! And then I decided not to, and I'm glad you did.
If so, what did you think of the sequel? If you haven't watched its sequel and just the first one, what do you think of the first one? Having watched the original a few years ago, I hadn't got around to watching its sequel, and until now I can hands down say it's my favourite film that I've watched in 2017. The soundtrack is just pure gold, and its nods to its predecessor are perfect, and it doesn't feel at all forced, which I was worried about going into this film. It was a treat to behold, and I can't wait to watch it again. And if you haven't watched either, everything I've just asked and said is irrelevant to the both of you, and I'm sorry. But please watch them. Having watched Children of Earth last week, I really craved some more political Picaldi, so I decided to re-watch the thick of it. Have you two seen it? If so, what do you make of it? Who's your favourite character? I'm a huge Terry fan. Hugh Abbott's... Hugh Abbott's great too. And have you got any standout scenes when you think of that show? One last thing. Have you booked your tickets to see the new Star Wars in December? I've booked the midnight release showing. A double bill
It is lengthy.
of the Force. I'll put it away then. A double bill of the Force Sex. The Force Awakens, followed by The Last Jedi. Only because I haven't seen episode 7 since its release. But I don't know how I'll handle sitting in a cinema for 5 hours. Hopefully the audience is more forgiving than they were at it. Hope you have a lovely bloody week. Tom Monty.
I've managed to forget the first question.
First question was Train Spotting and Train Spotting 2. Have we seen them? What do we think?
Seen the first one. I read the first, not the book. I read the screenplay of the film for a study once. That's
really?
That's my connection.
I've read the.
I did a monologue for it for an audition once.
Oh really? Which one? For Choose Life, Choose Us, Choose.
No, it was the one about the Vicks Vapor Rub.
Oh,
His
yeah.
cock, yeah.
Very good, very good.
Best place to book Vicks Vapor Rub,
really.
mate.
I mean, you're often going, oh, we should do an episode on such and such. I would like to hear that.
What our take on Irvine Welsh?
Would you mind? No, not your take on Irvine Welsh. I would like to hear that monologue. In character, with an accent. But not now.
Just
can
all,
Oh God!
all of
I
our,
don't remember what I
all
did
of our
recording.
audition pieces, just end to end.
Oh, good God. Yeah.
Nope.
No, I've
My
read
most
the
interesting one's the Stump Paul Cavan's monologue from League of Gentlemen.
Very good.
Getting my placement in college.
Brilliant.
No, the book is fantastic. The book is really it's a very, very different beast to the film. If you have read it, the first one is fantastic. I have seen that. I have yet to see T2.
I don't think I've seen Train Spotting. I think it's one of those films that I've seen enough of that I think I've seen
Seen
it.
so many send-ups.
You
Yeah,
it through cultural osmosis. It's like
Yeah.
Psycho or something like
Like
that.
I thought,
yeah.
I realized when I finally did see Cape Fear that I'd seen so many piss takes of Cape Fear that I found it actually quite difficult to.
Why hasn't this guy got a giant red afro and
Yeah,
voiced by Kelsey
yeah,
Grammer?
exactly. Why is he stepping on rakes the whole time? So that's one that's like it's so firmly in the cultural zeitgeist that it's difficult to not at least have an impression of it.
Yeah. You know it, even if you've never actually got to know it.
But you'll have heard that monologue at some point, somewhere, and the Iggy Pop dun.
It was weird watching the trailer for the second one, hearing him saying like, "Choose Twitter." It was like,
It
wait,
was
what?
weird, wasn't it?
What is this?
Yeah,
but I'm sure I'd enjoy it.
Because the weird thing the thing that's kind of kept me away from it is that pre and then during and then post its release, I've heard almost nothing about it.
No.
Like no one I know
nothing bad,
but
all
good.
Also nothing good.
Yeah,
yeah.
it came and it went so quickly. Whereas the
apart from Tom Monty's point of view of it,
of course,
which is it's a rollicking good
but
time.
I will take Tom. How does it go?
Tom Monty.
I will take his recommendation and I will watch it and I will get back to you, Tom.
Somehow.
Somewhere.
Next question. Children of Earth. The thick of it. Do we like the thick of it? Yes, we
Love the thick of
do.
it.
I do love the thick.
We've all seen all of the thick of it.
I've seen all of the thick.
And
On the Loop is very
Although
good.
I haven't picked up this week's big issue.
Oh no!
Which I really should.
Is this the
It's the Alan Partridge and Malcolm Tucker
Talking about
conversation
Brexit.
about Brexit.
Now in the wake of the fact that literally politically the world is mental.
The world has needed the thick of it more than ever.
It seems like the thick of it. And now that's. Capaldi's done, right? Capaldi's out of the.
Apart from the Christmas special, he's not. He's
out.
He's done it. He's filmed everything.
He's out of Cardiff now.
Yeah.
He's
I think post Christmas is the safe place for them to announce anything. Should there be any cogs turning in that particular
and there
department.
should be. Is Veep done now as well?
Veep Forever goes on, no?
I'm not sure what the
Veep doesn't have the same kind of thing that we.
Veep Forever goes on.
Because it's
End of times.
It's a successful American show.
I'm just thinking
until
in terms
people
of
are sick of it.
Amanda Iannucci's time more than anything.
Although he's just actively involved throughout.
I don't know.
I think he writes some of and directs occasional episodes of.
Well, he's obviously had enough time to do Death of Stalin, which I'm really looking for.
Yeah,
it's like the kind of Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant way of handling The Office, of going, we'll you have baby steps forward and then off you go, make us money.
Do us proud with your wallet.
Slightly, hands off kind of approach, which seemed to work for them.
Yeah,
I that's what I assumed he would be doing.
Much like the American Office, I recommend people join the thick of it with the second season to avoid awkward conversations with people who remember.
Unfortunately,
things.
One of Tom's favourite characters, Hugh Abbott.
He unfortunately comes with a lot of baggage at this point.
Do you know?
Particularly because there is a line that he jokes about referencing what the actor, in fact, was then later charged with.
I'll be honest. When I started I've only seen season 1 once, and I did a rewatch about a year ago, and I started with series 2, and I didn't feel like I'd missed anything.
No.
No. The continuity.
Series 1 feels like a warm up,
of it,
and then series 2 is where it hits its tonal. If you want to see Malcolm's best bits from series 1, just YouTube them.
Yeah,
there you go. Fill yourself in.
And then I think it's season 4 that has that kind of sort of Chilcott inquiry type thing.
Yeah.
When they're talking about the nature of spin in this case. And that's brilliant and hilarious.
What's the thing? The era of spin was kind of dying by the time the show was wrapping up, really, in terms of what the show was embodying. But now you look across the pond and you see that it's had to resurge because there are now damage control people putting out fires all the time in the world of politics. And it's starting to creep back over here more noticeably now. So the world needs it, man.
It's a phenomenally good, and some of the most imaginative swearing.
Just do a Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Just stick Malcolm Tucker in like the season opening arc of Veep. Yeah. Just thrust him into it for 7 episodes. I don't know if then screen that over here on BBC Two.
If Veep is still going, it might well be on hiatus for a while because Julie Louis-Dreyfus unfortunately recently announced that she's now fighting a cancer diagnosis. So much love to.
We wish her all the very best.
Fantastic.
Well, give her a break and bring Malcolm Tucker in as the show's focus
as the vice president.
Well, just throw him into the VP role for no reason. Why would we elect this Scottish man who's only recently left prison.
Oh,
What's going on?
they've just aired season 6 of Veep, so it may well be coming back depending on
how well her recovery goes. Just briefly, my favourite character beyond Malcolm Tucker, who I think you'd have to be slightly mad to not have that. I mean, Jamie would be up there, who's basically just an offshoot of Malcolm.
Yeah.
Malcolm's apprentice.
But then also it is oh, good God, I can't remember his name now. Why is it escaping me?
Which one?
Peter Mannion. What's his?
What's his fucking name? Yeah.
Oh my God, I love him. What's his name?
Roger Allen.
Roger Allen, of course.
Sorry.
Yeah,
that 4th season with the coalition. Oh, fucking
Olivier Award-winning actor Roger Allen. Sorry, I apologise. But literally, he's so brilliant and grumpy and sour,
just wonderfully droll,
and
God. I just faces everything with.
And having to deal with this kind of new agey, lovey-dovey kind of spin doctor is just glorious. How much kind of old guys on it.
Vincent Franklin?
Oh, Vincent Franklin, that's Stuart Pearson. Vincent Franklin. Yeah, I briefly worked with Vincent Franklin, and he is lovely and very fucking funny. He's just a top bloke, and he's Stuart Pearson on the thick of it, and he's just fucking fat because he is that very much he's the Turtleneck Brigade sort of Steve Jobs loving iPhone,
cooler,
Oh yeah, and that episode where they go to the fucking retreat,
where they sit cross-legged on the floor,
and everyone hands over their phones and. Oh,
yes, and what? What is it? Yeah.
Was it yes?
We're in the thought bubble. Yeah. It's so
free computers for the elderly. Just the kind of office speak twattery that anyone that has been in even sort of close to the environment would see, and it's
even though we're picking names out, it's a remarkably strong ensemble.
Brilliant, and a lot of
fantastic.
A lot of the kind of sort of amazing back and forth is stuff that, and it says in the credits, that is brought forward by the cast themselves.
Yeah.
And it seems like the kind of environment where they're not only encouraged, but they kind of relish that kind of, the kind of, verbal fencing, which is so funny to watch. And that, like I said before, just this amazing level of swearing, which is like he's fucking useless. He's about as useful as a marzipan dildo. Is just one.
Fuck the fuck in or fuck the fuck off.
Come the fuck in or fuck the fuck off. I mean, most of them are coming in this kind of broad, Scottish accent.
Oh my
Which,
God.
again, just wonderful for seeing Peter Capaldi, because anyone who's met Peter Capaldi, similar to stuff will know that he's a lovely, quiet, sort of polite man.
I have a new favourite.
But then, okay.
It's Tom Hollander as the fucker.
Yeah, not in the loop where he plays a completely different character, but what he's in the thick of it, where he is, Cal the fucker Richards.
Where he's...
Oh, because he rock up for just 2 hours.
He's there for, he's not even there for, he's there for maybe a scene.
Yeah.
And he proceeds to put a pretend
wonderful
gun, with his finger guns, to everyone in the office that he's close to, pretend to shoot them, and whilst shouting the word fuck, and they go, if only I could shoot you all in the back of the head, but I can't because it's illegal. And it's coming from this man who's been so gentry and sweet.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing. It's literally Armando Iannucci going, you have played this kind of slightly bookish, nerdy character in the past. I'm going to let you off the leash now.
It is a great series for doing that, of taking these actors for certain things and just letting them off the fucking hook.
It's
and go, because like I say, Peter Capaldi before the thick of it was not known for being angry, shouty Scotsman.
No.
But that's now his defining role.
And what a role though!
Fucking wonderful. And also just. One of the things I love about that is just Armando Iannucci constantly writing running scenes for him because it has a funny run. He just, that's it. Just I'm going to make you run here because you have a funny run.
Oh yeah, before we sort of wrap up on Thick of It, are there any standout scenes?
I think what I mentioned, like, with the...
Malcolm describing, trying to describe to thingy, Chris Addison.
The Star Wars!
The first time I saw
There's
that...
a space hairdresser! A dustbin! Lego! Everyone's made of Lego!
To tie it back to the
Brilliant.
Lego games. But yeah, the first time I saw him just sat in the cafe, he just looks so pissed off that he doesn't understand what the hell he's going on about. It's only after you kind of like...
Gay robots!
Do you mean Star Wars? You're like, oh my god! How does he process things? What's the one where they're in a hotel for the majority of it?
Oh yes, when they're at a party conference, whilst also there's a woman whose husband had recently died.
Yes.
And each the department for the DOSAC are trying to get this woman to be a kind of front runner for a campaign they're running, but then Malcolm comes in as part of quote unquote the government, number 10, and comes in and just sort of sweeps her up. And they end up, arguing, and then it becomes sort of two middle-aged men having a wrestle in a corridor.
Does he break Glenn's nose?
And he proceeds to break Glenn's nose. And he goes, you broke my nose. No, I didn't. It's absurd, and it's mental, but it's getting closer to more or less a documentary at this point.
Yeah.
It's terrifyingly prescient.
Okay.
Okay.
A lot of political satire. What was the last one?
Have you booked to see Star Wars in December?
No, because I have a limitless card and that would be pointless.
He has booked a double bill of The Force Awakens followed by The Last Jedi because he hasn't seen Episode 7 for a while.
Fair enough, if you're willing to go for Numbum.
Also, 5 hours in a cinema. Charlie.
Yeah, we've done
12 hours in a cinema. I think you'll find.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, I don't know, I can only speak for myself, but I've spent 5 hours sat watching stuff.
I can quite happily sit in one spot for 5 hours and not move.
Yeah. I mean, did he say the midnight? Is it the midnight screening?
Maybe.
Oh, it is the midnight screening.
Oh,
so
yeah.
okay.
The first film leads into midnight.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so you start at maybe 8
it'll be like
PM
9:45.
Oh, okay.
And then.
Oh, that's
mini toilet break.
It'd be we did fucking Nicolas Cage, man.
This is weird. What Matt and I managed to do is that we were bought tickets to basically sit and watch Nick Cage movies for
12 hours.
12 hours. So was it 10 till 10?
Yeah, it was. I think it was 9 till 9 or maybe 8 till 8. But yeah, it was.
Either way, it was through
the night, and it was
long fucking time.
It was Con Air, Face Off,
Vampire's
Bad
Kiss.
Lieutenant, Vampire's Kiss,
Raising Arizona,
and what was the last one? The Rock.
Was it The Rock? Yeah.
6 Nick Cage movies.
I mean, I think it's as far as the good to bad movie ratio.
I mean, they're all fucking.
They are all good. Wait. I'll stop you there,
great.
Chris. What ratio? They're all good.
Is Vampire's Kiss a good movie?
It's a great movie, Chris.
Vampire's Kiss is an interesting movie, if nothing else.
It's American Psycho with Nick Cage thinking instead of Christian Bale thinking he's a murderer, it's Nick Cage thinking he's a vampire.
It's fascinating just for his performance.
How do you alphabetize?
According to alphabetical order.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
That's my favourite bit of any film, when he starts gesticulating that wildly and then proceeds to just start clapping in time with the words or the letters he's saying.
Well, just because he starts like that with pointing.
Yeah, but he's pointing, he's flailing. You've got this poor co-star sat there, literally looking at him like, Nick, you're mental, not...
Because this was before he was known for that kind of performance.
Well, before he was known at all, really.
It's one of his early movies.
Because had he been known for anything, he would have been known for being mental. And he just wasn't known at all at that point.
It's just the fucking balls on him to go and make that, say what you will about Nicolas Cage, he's very rarely boring. He's not never boring.
He's not exclusively. We've seen some boring.
He can be boring, but
it's punctuated with mental.
He's rarely boring.
Yeah.
Because he's usually doing something so fucking batshit insane, or also fairly regularly pretty fucking good. But he has that way of speaking that no other human would use those inflections.
Yep.
But he just does them anyway.
So basically, Tom, 5 hours ain't shit.
5 hours ain't shit.
And also, it's a Rian Johnson directed Star Wars film. It's going to be ace.
Yeah.
Like,
if it isn't, I will cry for so long.
Also, if it isn't, you'll be so tired. Just go to bed and wake up the next day thinking about other things.
If it's not good, then it's not good. But it's going to be good.
Yeah.
The hit rate. The hit rate has been good.
I'm gonna try and catch it midnight. Sure. It depends if it's mid Panther season, so it depends on if my next day is a
suicide.
I don't need that.
If my next day is a 3-show or a 2-show
so
day,
get on the podcast next
I'll make the choice. But
I don't know. I'm totally cool with just seeing it in the middle of the day, like a couple of weeks after it comes out.
Last time we went the day after. Last time I was in Lincoln, it was Rogue One, and we went the night after the proper day of release after our last performance that night. Because we wanted to see it, but I think it was a 3-show day. So it was the whole thing of, we could go to bed and just pick this up another day, or screw it, let's go watch Rogue One. See Rogue One. And we did it, and I enjoyed the movie much more because of that vibe.
Yeah.
So I kind of want that high. If Last Jedi turns out to be miraculously somehow pants, I want to at least feel like I had a good time because I'm knackered and I'm sat in a cinema in a strange town at midnight with a drummer and a bassist going, "What are we doing?
What the fuck am I doing?
We're meant to be back in work at 9 a.m.
So basically, none of us have booked in advance. No. Some of us are planning to go at midnight at some point. I am more than happy to see it at
Charlie will catch it on an airplane middle of next year.
Regular human hour. Somehow I didn't see episode 7 until it was like coming up to February of like the following year.
Were you spoiler free?
I'm completely. I have no idea how I managed it.
The internet was relatively
really
impressive.
And like having now watched it, I was like, wow, you did well, internet. Good for you.
Like, well done, Tinterweb.
I mean, Tom Monty hasn't seen it for a while, so I don't want to spoil it because you forgot. But no, good for the internet for once.
Yeah, I think so.
Hurrah, the web. The dark web.
Next email from Luke. What voice shall I do for Luke?
Charlie, I think it would only be right for you to pick. Good sir.
Can we do Matt Berry? Get him nice and close.
Losing my bloody eyesight.
Try saying that with the body of a snake and the balls of a chimp.
Yes!
Try it without the script. It's only one word.
Yes!
Oh, God.
I've spent an inordinate amount of time of late since discovering Toasted London working on my Matt Berry.
It's just, again, it's like Nicolas Cage. He says words in a way that no other human being would think to say those words.
And that's why he's a genius.
Dag, if you and he want to be buddies again, I won't stand in your way. God, it's just magical.
Please. Sorry, just whilst you're leaving Matt Watson, just show Mr. Berry in, would you? Cheers, mate.
Why, thank you.
Cheers,
thank you.
Hello, Mr. Berry.
What's this? Gay for pay? Hi, Matt, BDC.
Matt, this is Clem Fandango. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can fucking hear you. Put your finger on the button.
Try with a bit more feeling.
On the fucking button. Hi, BDC. Wonderful impression of me last week. If I ever need a voice box transplant, I will suggest the voice of Matthew Watson screaming. Maybe you could read this email in the same way.
No. That ain't happening.
I actually rather enjoyed Spamalot. It was marvellous. On a scale of pasta to table leg, what's your favourite Teletubby? Who? Chris, might I suggest that you release big damn cast versions of your 5WF watch-alongs? I'm off to Disneyland Paris next week. My first trip...
This is such a weird train of thought. Just to mix it up, considering the email doesn't know what the hell it's doing. Now you're having sex with Mrs. Purchase.
My first trip out of the UK! Any tips and tricks
for Disneyland. What is your favorite non-Disney animated movie? What is your favorite Disney animated movie? Chris, what is... Matt, on a scale of 3...
How long is... I mean, this is the longest
It's
one.
quite a short email, but it's taking forever. He's doing extended vowels.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye. The Ginger Luke. Follow me on Twitter at LlamaBottle0. Someone please, or YouTube Bottle Zero Productions. No? Okay, fine. I'll leave. It's pointless plugging my social media here. Anyway, it just makes people dislike me. Oh, what's that? I should be gone. Bye-bye.
Was that by Colin Dent?
Colin Dent, or
How much of that did you read from here, or how much of that did you make?
That was all there.
Oh, that was all on
That
there.
was all there.
Okay.
Oh my lord, Luke.
What was your impression of him last week? I haven't heard that yet.
I'm Brian Blessed, basically.
Okay. Oh, it's okay. We went a million miles.
So it was like, BDC, wonderful impression of me last week. If ever I need a voice box transplant, I will suggest a voice.
Can we not do the whole email again, please? I beg you.
I was just giving you a taste,
No,
Charles.
that was glorious. I have all of Brian Blessed.
I've never had to concentrate on the level of the recording so much before. I was just sat there going, scroll.
I said last week that I didn't particularly care for Spamalot, but if you enjoyed it, then cool.
I've never seen Spam Art.
I did not care for it. That's what I just
Is it? Oh, yeah.
It's an Eric Idle solo Python venture.
Yeah,
That
it's
kind
the Holy
of
Grail of the
tones there.
stage show.
Like Marcus Brigstock or something.
So he's wanted it for a while. I saw it with Dick and Dominic.
Oh, did you really?
We did pretty good. Like,
What,
but
is the same character?
No, Dick was King Arthur. Dom was Patsy, which is like the.
Okay, yeah, they're in.
Yeah, it's Holy Grail. Yeah.
I think Arthur's interchangeable usually. That was sort of the stunt of when it has a run somewhere.
It was,
change every like when
it was Tim Curry when it opened in Broadway.
Yeah.
Peter Davison did it in the West End
Sanjeev
over
Bhaskar
here.
was in it for a little while.
Yeah,
Warwick Davis.
It tends to be the King Arthur tends to be the guest star.
Yeah,
Right.
Like,
Okay,
like
so
when
the
I was
company
going to
stayed
say,
the same,
like when they
right.
they don't tend to put this on often. Well, like when they do the play what I wrote, the Morecambe and Wise thing. Like the guest of the thing would change every week of wherever it was based, and they would rewrite whole chunks of the show to accommodate the guest.
Right.
To take the piss out of them specifically, and
I can't remember any of the questions again. Sorry.
So what's our favourite Teletubby on a scale of pasta to table leg?
fuck the Teletubbies. My favourite's that weird puppet in the house that appears every now and again.
I like Baby Sam.
I like the speaker. Time for Tubby Bye Bye.
Oh yeah, and the like self-aware kind of
the
vacuum.
The new. My God, the new.
How do you know that?
I've seen the Teletubbies. How can you? The Teletubbies is known as cultural osmosis thing. How can you not know the Teletubbies?
I know the names of the four like the main ones.
I know the new.
Yeah, Spunky, Leonardo, Captain Fizzwiz.
Well, the thing is, when you came
Piss.
home from school and you whacked CBBC on, you had to sit in the fucking Teletubbies or go do something else before you got to the good stuff.
CBBC's whack.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know.
Jeez.
You have to fucking sit through the Teletubbies or go and do something else. But then if you go do something else, you miss missing the
beginning of
You're missing the beginning of the mascot, Ace Ventura Pet Detective or
Chucklevision.
Johnny Quest.
Sometimes they chuck on Chucklevision. before the
My
cartoon.
favourite. Oh yeah, Baby Son. New for both of these two.
Baby son.
There is another email
What's his
from
name?
Luke, but it is literally just a string of emojis. All but one of which my tablet can't read. So I think we can safely disregard that one. Last one, big damn questions from Blonde the Slovene.
Have you vetted this?
No.
Did you
I
write
never.
this?
You should know, Charles, as a listener. I never vet these emails. All sorts of stuff gets through. What are we doing? What are you saying? Are you saying boy?
We?
Boy?
You're just going to say we the whole
I was saying
way.
what you're saying, boy.
Let's give him a singer.
Okay.
Let's give him a musician. Prince.
He's got a certified.
Yeah, Prince, not singing Prince,
Yeah,
spoken
spoken.
interview Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like extra weird and nervous today. And high on Percocet.
Close to the end, then.
Go on, take that fentanyl, Prince. You're on a cloud, Prince.
Hello, Big Damn Voices. I have some random questions for you to answer with your mouth holes that project sound. My first question is, do you think that there should have been a proper reason for us to get the Dark 12th Doctor, so it wasn't so jarring as I feel that there wasn't much of a reason for him becoming a cold Scottish man for the first series of his tenure as BBC One
He beat you out.
TV's Doctor Who? My second question is, since Primeval is 10 years old this February that went, what are your opinions on the show, and do you think it should return? My final question is, do you feel like UK TV Dave's Red Dwarf is running out of steam creatively, and do you make of the first 2 episodes of Series 12? Thank you for reading my email out and answering my questions and making this awesome podcast. From Blonde, the Levine.
And you've got like a vice like grip on more saying the Times back catalogue. You really don't want them to do well on their own.
May not be my real name.
Oh, those trousers are tight.
That was one of the strangest things I've ever done.
Who's actually from? What are they called?
No name. That's just Blonde Celine. May not be
No
your
name. Thanks, no name. They're simple. There we are.
Very good.
It was from
I
Prince.
didn't hear a word of what you were saying. I was concentrating on
why did we get a Dark 12th Doctor?
Cause Moffat's a grumpy man and he wanted
What was
to
the reason
make
behind
a show
it?
grumpy.
I don't know, you'd have to ask. Right, but also, why not?
Was he dark? I thought he was Dr. Disco. And other such things.
I mean, I'll be honest, I dropped off Doctor Who pretty hard.
There was
I haven't seen a
there
lot.
were some decent episodes last season.
I did like Pearl's work, but I by that point I just kind of soured on it too much, that she wasn't enough to kind of rein me back.
And there was that 3-parter with the monks in the middle, which just felt completely
I was enjoying this past series a lot more than I have enjoyed the show in years, and then the monk 3-parter started after. I think Knock Knock put me off a bit.
I didn't mind Knock Knock.
I just sort of it went back to that resolution of, oh, it was a good thing in the end, and it was a misunderstanding in a show where I desperately missed a bit of the black and white good versus evil thing that they've stopped doing.
In terms of having a Dark Doctor, I mean, going from someone who's sort of as regularly happy-go-lucky as Matt Smith was, it seems like
it's a logical move to make him a contrast, but I do,
especially with him being older.
I do,
and having angry eyebrows.
He does have angry eyebrows.
I think you can do the contrasts more subtly in the show. I mean, John Pertwee to Tom Baker's a nice sort of depiction of that in a way, because John Pertwee is a lovable, warm character, but he's very short with people he doesn't have the time for, and he's not asked about. And then suddenly becomes Tom Baker, who's asked about everybody, even if he doesn't actually respect them, and he's just taking the piss out of them. And this is kind of, being silly just to wind them up, because he knows it'll wind them up and get them to say something.
What a wonderful butler.
He's so violent. Hello. He's not as stupid as he looks, darling. No one's as stupid as he looks.
And also, I would say that why? Because Capaldi's a lifelong fan of the show. He's probably good for the marketing department. He'd be good for talk shows.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the marketing, because suddenly we had a bunch of non-shifting merchandise with an angry old man on the front that kids weren't buying.
Oh, no, I mean, like, I don't mean in practice, I mean in theory, because like, he's the kind of person that can quite easily go onto a talk show and go, I love this thing. I've loved this thing forever. Look at this letter from when I was a kid.
A bit like David Tennant did.
Exactly like that. But, and then, also...
The fuck is she doing?
Sorry, one of my cats has decided to climb a shelving unit in the corner of the room.
What is she doing?
Dolly, get out of here. She's just climbed into a small crevice, walked
This
out
is the
like...
problem with leaving, having left the crevice. You've got... I don't know how you've managed to leave space anywhere on these shelves.
Because we recently put that in that other cabinet. So we've been able to space things out a bit. Plus this Game of Thrones box set's missing because Lou's family have borrowed them and not returned them.
What else are we saying? Primeval.
Yes, what about it?
10 years old.
Is it?
No one cares. I have little to no opinion on the show. It wasn't very good.
I have little to no opinion.
And no, it shouldn't return. Jesus.
I saw the first series. because I was in that mood of, genre TV on British telly on Saturday nights. This is fun.
Oh, Joe from Excellent. Oh,
how dare you?
Hannah.
It was Hannah Spirit. How
I
dare
don't
you?
fucking know.
Hannah.
Oh, you remember fucking Nunu? That's the thing that you've managed to lodge into your memory.
Freaking Nunu of all things, but not Hannah Spirit. How dare you?
Charlie, how could you not remember Nunu?
Listen.
Look at me like I'm mental.
The hose on that fucking Nunu was just unforgettable.
It's lines. They were just... Dialogue was inspired.
I can't remember what the Nunu sounded.
That was one, yeah.
Was that all it did was just suck?
Yeah.
Well, quite.
Hey! Sex!
The only thing I even vaguely remember was that it was like, ooh, someone from S Club being in a thing where she speaks words. That isn't S Club Miami or whatever the hell those shows used to be called.
Yeah, they had their own kids show, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. She'd probably tell me to sod off if I said this, but her most notable role in terms of acting is in Seed of Chucky, because she gets a memorable death in it.
Oh, Jesus, I forgot about
Yeah,
that!
she's Jennifer Tilly's assistant in that movie.
Is she really?
Yeah.
I wonder if she's still...
And she gets, I think she's burnt up, and like her face gets burnt up, and then she falls down the stairwell and smashes her back on the floor.
Cruel and unusual death.
Yes.
That's the only reason I even had like a passing interest in it. I never actually watched the thing.
Primeval's Legacy is a bunch of Doctor Who custom figure makers buy the Primeval toys because they're in the same scale and turn them into Doctor Who characters that don't have toys.
Primeval's Legacy.
That's its legacy.
Is a series of failed genre shows on primetime ITV.
Do you remember the other one? Do you remember Demons?
We talked about this briefly a lot longer ago.
Yeah, Demons was one.
Terrible.
I don't remember Demons at all.
No one else does.
Was
Everyone wishes they could.
It was Mackenzie Crook and Philip Glenster, and it was on ITV. And I think it had 2 seasons. Like they were very short.
No, it only had 1 season.
This is the 1 season.
Yeah.
Did they try and bring it back at some point? Was there Whispers? Is that what I think there was 2?
No, they might have split it in 2.
But there was that
season.
post Watershed. They did a Frankenstein one, where
Did
the
they?
monster was just sort of this mishmash of creatures and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Arthur. We got Merlin.
That was
Which is
BBC.
That was
stuff.
long running.
That was
yeah.
BBC, but that did quite well. But it was kind of
And then Atlantis
samey.
following that.
Atlantis,
Which,
yeah.
yeah.
God, there's been loads, man. There's been loads. Yes. So there you go. That's what we think of Primeval.
Final
I have absolutely no opinion on it whatsoever.
Red Dwarf Series 12. I haven't watched it yet.
I've seen the first episode. It's a good start.
Good.
It's genuinely a good start.
Because I love a bit of Red Dwarf, I do. I like it on more sausage butties. I like a bit of Red Dwarf.
Who's that meant to be?
I fucking don't know. I don't know.
Who the hell was that meant to
Jesus
be?
Christ, Chris, I was up at 3:45 this morning. It's now fucking 6 minutes past 11. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
witching hour! You know what this means?
Oh, what does this mean?
Oh, it's kind
Quiz
of...
time!
Yes! No!
Good God, no.
I've still got to go home and record Adventures in Backlogging.
Oh my god, right. Well, in that case, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this week. But more importantly, sod you lot.
Yeah.
Charlie, thank you for joining us this week.
Thank you very much,
We're
boys.
really glad you came on.
No,
because
thank
made
you
the
very
show
much for
interesting.
having me. No, it's been a pleasure. I have genuinely been itching to come on since you guys started. No, you know.
You are our only non-fictional guest that we've had on the show.
Is that right?
The only other guest we've had on the show is Father Christmas.
Yeah.
But wait, didn't we have Matt Berry on earlier?
Well, is Matt Berry real? Or is he, in fact, a sophisticated system of holographic projectors based around a voice box?
Or is he, a giant enemy crab?
Ridge Racer!
Why would you whip out the giant enemy crab now at the 11th hour?
Well, he did say he'd been itching.
We could.
Oh.
Hey!
On that note, thank you, Charlie, for joining us. Thank you, listeners, for joining us. You know the drill. Big Damn Cast on Twitter, Big Damn Channel on YouTube, Big Damn Blog on Tumblr, and just whatever you want to call us when you see us in the street. Just hopefully something not too
I
disgusting.
really hope you don't see me in the street.
So long, true believers.
Excelsior!
Excelsior! Oh God, it's not it. No!